What's going on, fellow A-plussers? It is I, your more phenomenal host, as always, Adam Perez, certainly coming through once again with a brand new episode of A-plus More Phenomenal, your weekly stop for your Power Rangers, Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Ultraman news and reviews going live over on our YouTube page. You can also find us over on our Facebook page as well as Twitch, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you so much for joining us here for another fantastic weekend, guys. Thank you so much for certainly joining us. We got a couple of people in our live chat with us today, as always, which I always love to give you guys shout outs for spending your afternoon certainly with us. So let's go ahead and get through, see who's actually joining with us today. We got Harka certainly in the house as we're going to be getting into Dino Fury Season 2, Episode number 3 for you guys. Technically, we should be on Episode number 4. It has been about 4 weeks since Dino Fury wind up dropping, but we actually had a couple things of news today that I wanted to go ahead and get through. So we will be doing Episode 3 review for you guys, and then maybe sometime either this weekend or this week, I will drop a review for Episode number 4 and maybe additional live viewer questions for you guys, just to make sure that we're all caught up before we get into sort of the 5th week, if you will, of Dino Fury beginning next Saturday. So we got Blossom in the house. What's up, Loyal? Good to certainly see you around here. We got Frankie in the house. Jordan certainly joining us today. Thank you very much, man. We got Christian in here as well. Thank you so much for spending your weekend with us, man. Michael Rhymes is certainly here with us today. We got Nicole Roberts. Happy Saturday to you also. We got Gabriel in the house. Adam Perea, my twin. What's going on, man? We got Adrian Perez. I'm pretty sure you're probably my cousin from somebody else. Francois from France. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Who else we got in here? Good old Sexy. I'm assuming that's probably AJ. We got Johnny in the house. What's up, Johnny? Kurt's in here also today too. Ram Jam gracing us with his presence as always. Edward Sanchez production certainly came through today. Thank you very much. And of course, we've got Marcelino Vasquez. He says, since you're reviewing episode 4 this weekend, does that mean no A+ hero reports? No, we still will be having A+ hero report tomorrow. I've already pulled some of the stories for us to talk about. I'll probably prep that show later on today. So we do have an A+ hero report tomorrow on Sunday for you guys. But again, I am going to try and drop episode number 4 either this weekend or sometime very early on in the week, just to make sure that we played catch up correctly. So thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us as we are continuing along with the fantastic season 2 of Dino Fury so far, really stretching this out as long as we possibly can for 10 to 11 weeks. And hopefully by that time, the second part winds up dropping, or at least we certainly don't have to wait that much longer for the second half to certainly drop for us. But it's been a busy week, man. This has been a crazy, hectic week, you know, some come to Jesus moments. I definitely have some channel updates for you guys. If anything, I think we'll probably talk a little bit more about that next weekend. I do want to put some things into place here this week just to make sure I'm talking with everybody that I need to make sure that we're kind of all on the same page in regards to what's going to go down. But I will be having a review, or I will be having a channel update for you guys next week. Datilla, what's up, Datilla? Good to certainly see you around here. I am also working on the process of trying to get Jinsaku on our channel for us in some capacity or another. For those of you who don't know who Jinsaku is over on Twitter, he's been having a ton of sources in regards to the Power Ranger news and movies. We'll certainly see how that stuff continues to certainly play out. But me and Jinsaku have definitely been talking with each other over the past couple of months. I believe he had a podcast. I don't even know if they're still doing the Time for Toku podcast that I always used to promote for you guys around here also. But so yeah, if you're not following Jinsaku, please go ahead and do so. I feel like he's turning into the source of Power Rangers along with Joe Deckelmeyer over from the Illuminati. So we'll see what we wind up getting. But we do have some information from Jinsaku this week that I want to go ahead and speculate on a little bit, if you will. And then I might try and see if I can have Jinsaku either on an episode of A+ More Phenomenal or Hero Report here rather soon. So I'll definitely go ahead and keep you guys posted in regards to that. What's up, JB? Good to see you. Good to see you as always. Marcelino says, if you want to, you could just review episode 4 next week. Right now, the plan is to review it this weekend or earlier in the week just to kind of play catch up. But we'll see. We'll see, Marcelino. I'll always keep you guys posted. Again, if you're not following us over on our Discord community, please go ahead and do so. There is a link in the description box below. We usually will keep you up to date in regards to any channel updates over on our Discord or even on our community tab here on our YouTube page. So definitely subscribe if you haven't done so yet, just to make sure that you are getting caught up with all of the updates for the channel. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah, so the Discord. Also, we do have ourselves another YouTube page. If you haven't checked it out, A Plus Hero Report, where we talk Marvel, DC, and movies and television news. If you guys are certainly interested, so definitely go ahead and check that out if you have not done so as of yet. But what do we got on the docket today? We've got our Dino Fury episode 3 review for you guys. We got some potential things to look forward to when it comes to Jinsaku and some information for Power Rangers to look forward to. We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll jump into some tokusatsu realm here this week as we've got our very first look at Kamen Rider Black Sun, as we're getting more details in regards to that. We also got some Shin Ultraman news for you guys, along with just Ultraman news in general, and then of course your guys' live viewer questions. I do have live viewer questions all from last week. So if you have already submitted a question from last week, you don't have to go ahead and submit another question if you certainly don't want to. I'm definitely going to try and get through as many of these as I possibly can. What I don't get through, I definitely will add to another episode review for you guys. So I'll definitely try and get to as much as I can today, as I do have an appointment at 4. So I probably have to be around out of here around a little bit after 3 o'clock. So we'll see how long today's episode certainly goes for, but it's certainly glad to have each and every one of you here. And of course, if we wind up having some stragglers that wind up joining us sort of last minute, please definitely make everybody feel welcome here for sure. I'm still getting used to the new setup here. As you guys can see, we got a little bit of a new camera angle. I have been putting together this back post. I can't even get out of the way of my own creation. The back post over there that you guys can see with the shelving unit. I wanted to put that up a couple of weeks ago. I'm gonna go ahead and try and get some custom frames so I can at least put like 3 posters along this wall. So one of them you'll probably constantly see. If anything, I'm thinking about maybe switching it out, if you will. I do have some LED lights that I might be putting right on behind the bookcase, maybe also behind the TV, and then behind the DVD stand over here also to add some extra pop to the channel. So work in progress, but it's coming along really well. I actually am really proud of the painting job that we wind up doing for the back wall here. Honestly, it's actually one of my faves. Francois says, will you be doing episode 4 review catch up and questions live or pre-recorded? That's a good question, Francois. I have not decided that. Off the top of my head, something tells me pre-recorded. But if I do have some time, like either on like a Monday or Tuesday, I may do that live, like either in the afternoon or once I get off of work, maybe around 6-ish or 7. But I'll keep you guys posted, Francois. Again, if you're subscribed to the channel or follow us over on Discord, I will definitely keep you guys posted when you can expect the episode 4 review this week. So I'll definitely keep you posted. He's off topic. Have you watched the Supergirl finale or not? I have not watched it yet, though. I was just talking to AJ about that too. That I wonder if subconsciously there's a piece of me that just does not want to let go of that series. So I've honestly yet to watch it, but I will. And when I do, I definitely will be doing a wrap up for you guys. Adam says, your videos come a long way. You were in a different apartment before. May I say your afro is growing every episode? Oh, yeah, it'll continue to grow. If anything, I'm probably going to do the fades again and just continue to let my hair grow. It might go through a little bit of an ugly phase, but it's okay. I kind of had to go through that phase last time to get back to where I was previously. So we'll see what happens. But all right, guys. Let me get a sip of my coffee. If you guys aren't sitting back and relaxing, hopefully you've had your breakfast. Maybe you're about to have some lunch. Maybe you got some coffee or some OJ. Sit back, relax. Let's have a great time discussing some topics. And of course, remember, these are simply my A plus opinions. At the end of the day, I want to know yours. So go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below after this video airs. That good old caffeine, just what you need. You know what I mean? So, guys, with that out of the way, let's get into today's topics. First and foremost, being as always, you know how it is when we start off these episodes. Dino Fury episode review, episode number 3, titled Missing Pieces. Solid episode, rather enjoyable episode. Anytime you give me a glimpse into the Rafkon storyline, I'm completely there. I definitely want to know about the mystery in regards to what has happened with Rafkon. We're certainly his people. We've been getting tidbits all throughout season 1. And this is yet another piece to that puzzle as we get a little bit more in regards to Rafkon in this episode, along with really seeing, I think, Void Knight and the rest of his gang coming up with really formidable plans. Like, I continue to be really impressed how they're executing these plans, sort of really getting the upper hand against the Power Rangers, unbeknownst to them, you know what I mean? And really putting up some formidable fights here, not really letting the Rangers kind of get off easy whatsoever. And to be able to see Void Knight almost accomplishing his plans, especially in this episode, with the amount of sporks that homeboy wind up acquiring for himself. I think he was short like 2, maybe 3 or something like that. But the fact that Void Knight acquired so many sporks in here, really telling in regards to the thought process that has gone into Void Knight and his plans, along with the really solid and enjoyable writing. I mean, don't get me wrong, I probably would have picked something a little bit more, maybe not as ridiculous as, filling somebody's memories with false memories of pickles. I was like, why pickles of like all things? I mean, I guess if you're trying to compare the sporks to something, I mean, maybe there's got to be like another vegetable out there, or another object that you could have fooled people with. So I do wonder who on the writing team is a pickle fan. I am kind of curious. I do love me some dill pickles, don't get me wrong, especially like the individual ones that are in the pickle juice in the wrapper that you could just buy, or just give me a big old tub of pickles. I love it so much to where when I was younger, I would go and visit my grandma's house, and she would always have like the pickle spears in the fridge, because she would know that every time I would come over, I would love pickles. So she would always have a jar ready for me, and I would eat them so fast. She used to tell me, if I keep eating pickles the way that I do, I'm going to turn into a pickle one day. It didn't happen, Grandma. Ha! But I do love me some pickles. So, but I am curious as to why they went with pickles of all things to go ahead and trick the Rangers. But regardless, I was actually a really big fan of the team here, as Slither wind up coming up with a plan to use an amulet from the basement, just regular, anything that you could find in the basement that certainly might work, just jewels, amulets, maybe some staffs, I don't know. But I do love the fact that Slither comes up with a great plan, and Void Knight uses Oculo to go ahead and hunt down some Sporix in this particular week's episode. I will say this, one of the things that I noticed from that moment, from when the beginning of this episode begins and we get the plan for Void Knight, before we jump to the Rangers, have they ever used stock footage like that before, in the sense that we got that shot of like the landscape of the city with the sun and the moon kind of going by to emphasize, a passing of time, if you will, by a couple days maybe? I don't know if I've ever seen Power Rangers use stock footage like that outside of maybe like a trailer or something like that, but in the middle of a show, I personally don't recall, but maybe we have before and I'm tripping, guys. If I am tripping, go ahead and certainly let me know. But one of the things that I appreciated about this episode too was the fact that I really enjoyed how this episode already comes into it with a Sporix Beast battle having already happened and us not being aware of it, right? So when we actually do go to the command center, the very first scene, we see Amelia and Ollie working on Solon. We see the rest of the gang, if I'm not mistaken, go up to the Galaxy board, start trying to find Rafkon. And then we start seeing Amelia complaining about her shoulder and stuff, and certainly what's wrong with it, right? And then we eventually come to find out exactly how she got that injury. And I just thought, from a storytelling purpose wise, I thought it was pretty cool that the very first scene that we see our Rangers in, they've already faced Oculo and don't remember it. And I think that's actually a pretty cool way in order to kind of tell that story. But I also want to say, just shout out to Ali and Amelia. I really love these two characters together. Like, I love the supernatural versus, science, or whatever you can prove, sort of thing, and just the relationship and the fun that these two certainly have in regards to their friendship and the bickering and the back and forth and stuff. So the fact that Ali knows Amelia's super gullible, talks about the idea of like Solon's gonna now become the best gaming system ever, and just the hypeness that you see Amelia have about, oh my god, can she play this game that I love so much? I do love that Ali does pick on Amelia a little bit in a very fun-loving sort of way. But that definitely made me laugh, and especially the idea of Amelia thinking that she wind up getting like cursed by a witch, and that might be one of the reasons why her shoulder hurts. But shout out to the rest of the characters for at least amusing Amelia and Ion, and at least being able to try and use, was the light Dino key, I think, that repels spells, trying to use it on Amelia. And surprise to no one, especially Ali, like, I really love Kai's just expression when her shoulder still hurts after thinking they've removed the spell. He's like, what did you guys think was going to happen? Like, of course she wasn't cursed. Like, of course nobody put some spell on her, sort of thing. But I really love the reaction of Ali. Like, come on, guys. Are we really just amusing Amelia at this point in regards to it? Because you could tell that he immediately didn't realize, he immediately did not believe it. So I really do continue to enjoy those two characters, and really how they wind up working together. And for me, guys, it's I don't see how y'all don't see it. Granted, look, this season could end and Amelia and Ali could walk away separate, doing their own things, not in a relationship whatsoever. But I see it. I mean, I see it in this episode alone. She even hit him, right? And like, what did they even say? It's like, contact is key. Isn't that something that they usually tell you kind of growing up, that if a girl hits you, especially if it's like playful hitting, that's kind of a good sign, sort of thing, right? I mean, maybe that's like my 1980s mindset, and maybe we don't go by that shit anymore in the 2020s, Adam, me and my old ass self. But it looks to me very much like they are at least open. You know what I'm saying? Like, that there is at least some connection that these two have that seemingly really works on screen for me together. And they do say sometimes opposites certainly do attract. And when I look at Ollie and Amelia, I see it. I don't know how some of y'all don't see it, but maybe I'm tripping, guys. Maybe I'm tripping. Um, let's see here. But yeah, overall, I did enjoy the Amelia and Ollie stuff. If there was anything about this episode that did throw me off, though, and going back to Amelia here in regards to her shoulder, the fact that everybody kind of separates to go and figure out a plan in regards to what's happening, it did feel kind of out of place for us to go to the scene of Amelia opening up her laptop and trying to search massages or trying to find ways to help sort of injured shoulders. Like, for me, that whole scene kind of disrupted sort of the pacing and the tone of the episode by forcing like physical comedy sort of into the middle of that, to lead into at least the reveal of what happened to the Rangers, right? Because we did have to sit through the Jane and Jay Borg moment, and then they were like, you know what, just show everybody why we're getting massages in the first place. And then that's why when they wind up hitting us with the news report, and Amelia and the gang realize, oh my god, we've actually been fighting this person the entire time. While I appreciate the revelation, the idea of getting to the revelation felt a little bit off, and it felt like it kind of changed the pacing and the tone of the episode a little bit for me. And I kind of wish it was maybe executed or just handled a little bit differently. Like, I think you could have gotten to that point of the revelation without all the physical comedy. You know what I mean? And so for me, quick honorable mention, we should just jump into the Jane and Jay Borg. This episode was just a little bit too much for me, but again, I understand that these moments are not aimed at me, right? Like, these are for the 6-year-old 3-year-old, 4-year-old Power Ranger fans, if you will. Like these moments are not made for me, so I didn't really care too much. But it just honestly sort of messed up the tone for me and the vibe of the episode just a bit, because it did feel like it was a little bit too over the top when it comes to the physical comedy. Like the idea of having Jay Borg literally on Jane's back and stomping and stuff. Like, I mean, it was, outlandish sort of physical comedy. Where again, I get it. It's a Power Ranger show. It's aimed at kids. You got to have certainly some moments like that. They've actually been really light with the physical comedy all season long. So I really can't complain in regards to, oh my God, it's just so much of this comedy duo. I really do feel like they've handled it with kid gloves. And I definitely understand that there are going to be moments when those happen. So again, I don't want to be too harsh, because I am very much aware that that scene is not aimed at me. But it just kind of just threw it off for me just a little bit. But I will say this, there is a saving grace behind Jane and Jay Borg, because I actually really love these two actors together. I think they actually make a really great duo and have really great chemistry. Plus, there's just something about Jay Borg that I really love, just whether it be her mannerisms, the way she talks, they just really both work well for me. So while sometimes maybe I will roll my eyes, or it may not hit with me, or it may mess up the pacing or tone of an episode, there is a part of me that still really appreciates what they do, because they do it pretty good. I feel like I almost appreciate Jane and Jay Borg more than say somebody like a Vic and Monty, or Ben and Betty, if you will. So I really do appreciate the way that they've handled Jane and Jay Borg in here. But yeah, Jay Borg is actually becoming one of my faves, to be perfectly honest with you guys. A couple quick things in here too. The light Dino key wind up making an appearance in here. Incredible armor. Love the design. Even getting the opportunity to see the light fury blast spellbreaker was pretty cool, to go ahead and break our Rangers from their spell. I did think Ion was a little bit too tough with Solon, or at least in the way that he talked to her. The idea that everybody was like doubting Solon in regards to, her memories and her systems, and whether or not she was, needed to get debugged and stuff. Like the fact that Ion, I felt like out of everybody else, came at her a little bit harsher than I even expected, like really kind of calling her out, whereas the rest of the team was like, it's okay, Solon, we'll check and figure things out for you, kind of going forward. But Ion was giving her the business, man. I was like, dude, why are you so mad? Like, I know you're trying to find Rafkon and all, but hold on to that temper just a little bit. And is it just me, or did you guys think that Ion came across a little bit harsh to Solon in this episode? I also want to talk a little bit about the Rafkon situation, because we do have the search of Rafkon in here. It seems as though Solon suggests, in the process of looking for the Rafkon, to look for their three sons. They do locate the three sons, at least with the help of Solon in this episode. And there is this particular scene where they come up with the plan of the Rangers splitting up, right? The Rangers to go ahead and deal with Oculo, along with Solon's theory that their memories have been messed with, and Zato to go investigate Rafkon. I really like that scene for two reasons. One, I love the fact that Zato trusts his team enough to be able to handle the situation that they're in. And two, I love the fact that Zato recognizes the urgency in wanting to learn and find out what happened to Rafkon, despite Solon's pleas to not go about and do it, right? Whether that be danger, or hey, you need to help the Rangers out, sort of thing. I love what Russell brought to that scene in regards to Zato, because it really felt very much like a leadership move, making a very executive decision, regardless of what other people are certainly telling you to do. Certainly the right decision. And just based off of the urgency as a viewer to learn more about Rafkon, I appreciate Zato also having that same sense of urgency. Like, no, I can't wait. Like, we're in season 2 already, right? Like, no, this is time to start learning some answers to questions that we have. So I really love that sense of determination and leadership by Zato to go ahead and check out Rafkon for himself, despite Ion wanting to go. Don't go lava surfing without me. That's extreme sports. at its finest over on Rafkon. But I really enjoy. Again, I continue to enjoy all the original footage that we wind up getting. We even saw an original Zord footage in here once again using sort of that realm landscape, so they don't have to necessarily put together an entire Zord battle. It's really coming in handy seeing the Zord placed into different situations and it not being necessarily relied upon to go ahead and have a Zord battle every episode. I think the introduction to the Dino Fury cycle has really helped out in that fashion. First and foremost, this is the second time I believe I've seen the Dino Fury cycle. It looks fucking great. Like, just special effects and graphics wise, I really love the Dino Fury cycle, from its entrance to when it like literally hits the person and flies up, and you see Zato, do a backflip off and slash whatever he's cutting along the way down. All that looks great, and it does add another sense of finality to some of these episodes and some of these bosses to feel like that Zord battle that we should have gotten. But this is kind of like in place of that. And it really works. It really works for me. So I love the way that they're handling the idea of original Zord footage and coming up with alternate ways to have a Power Ranger episode instead of the same formula that we've had for so many years. So I think Simon Bennett and the writers really know exactly what they're doing here. And I think for me, one of the cool aspects about this episode too, when it comes to Rafkon, is the message beacon that we wind up getting. Shout out to Ollie also with the genius idea that they're actually the same message, just sort of separated with each other, like a piece of a puzzle as he references it, and playing both messages at the same time to perfectly align. Now, if you watched Power Rangers episode 3, Dino Fury, I believe this is where the storyline began. I believe that all the way began in season 1, episode 3. I think it was Lost Signal, or maybe that was episode 2 when we first got that first signal. So the fact that it's taken us an entire season to get back to this point, I'm so glad that we haven't forgotten about it. And it really does paint a much bigger picture in regards to what happened with Rafkon. So if you're watching this episode for Missing Pieces, if you have your subtitles on, you do get to see, or at least hear, a little bit more of the dialogue that was said in that message. I don't believe everything that we saw dialogue wise actually you could hear in the episode itself. So subtitle wise, it says, "To those who survived, so that Rafkon can heal safely, Rafkon, keep it safe." I think so. I think it comes in like 4 pieces. I think it's "to those who survived, dot, 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 yada, yada, yada." You couldn't hear anything. "So that Rafkon can heal safely, yada, yada, yada. Rafkon, yada, yada, yada. Keep it safe," is what it said. So the fact that there is a section in here that says "so that Rafkon could heal safely," it does make me under the assumption that the planet's either moved, and that's what's trying to keep Rafkon to heal safely, like in a process and maybe of hiding it or something like that. Or maybe it's physically there, but somehow, I don't want to say disguised, but invisible. Like, just think of Harry Potter and the cloak of invisibility or whatever. Homeboy just puts it on. Like, I wonder if there's an invisibility cloak of some sort around Rafkon and it's still there. The process of moving a whole entire freaking planet sounds crazy to me. Probably shouldn't sound too crazy to me though, if you do have, say, something like a Dino Shadow and Light key that allows you to transport across, whatever realms that you certainly need to. So I am curious, has Rafkon moved in order to heal safely, or is it there and just simply being invisible? So I am kind of curious to see how that'll play out. But I love the fact that we are getting some Rafkon mysteries, some answers, and the storyline for that officially pushed forward. And then last but not least, man, the action in here I thought was really legit. I thought the flare attack worked perfectly well in here. And just the idea of getting the opportunity to see Void Knight at the end of this episode truly spoil the party. While our Rangers are very much under the impression that Homeboy very much is alive, I do love the fact here that this is sort of very much a round 2, if you will. Void Knight put it on that ass whooping, really caught the Rangers sort of off guard. Like for me, when I watched the episode, visually it was stunning to kind of see them getting ready to go ahead and destroy Ocula with their all of them powering up with their swords and stuff. And when they go to slash, I honestly thought the explosions was their offensive attack. I had no idea that Void Knight wind up showing up. So when he arrives on the scene and he's just wasted the Rangers, my jaw literally dropped. I was like, oh, like he came in like a G, man. Like he was not playing around. He was like, round two is not going to go the same way that round one certainly went. It wasn't even a contest. Whipped that ass, caught the Rangers off guard, wind up walking away with a ton of Sporex. So shout out to Void Knight for really just throwing his weight around, man, and putting on a fantastic display as he literally single-handedly takes out the Dino Fury Rangers. I did like one of the lines from Ion or from Zato in here. We can keep this up all day. All right, Captain America, sit your ass down. I've heard that line way too many times. I can do this all day. I've heard it way too many times. Felt a little bit too on point for me, if you ask me. I don't know if that was the reason why they wanted to play it up a little bit. Like, hey, let's put a little Captain America reference in here. Give Zato a little bit of badass. I've seen Steve Rogers say it so many times, it doesn't hit me that way anymore. That now when I see other people, I just think to myself, it don't hit the same way. It don't hit the same way. But regardless, I still love Zato in this episode in regards to just his leadership factor. But solid episode, man. Really great stuff. The Amelia and Ollie stuff, I continue to enjoy their friendship and bond. Void Knight continues to be a badass with really great plans for the most part. And then, of course, get an opportunity to see more about Rafkon in here, along with some great action. Certainly worked out fantastically well for me. But remember, guys, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I definitely want to know yours. So definitely go ahead and let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. And again, if there's anything that I missed, character moments, storyline details, some Easter eggs, or whatever the case may be, you guys want to further go ahead and bring to my attention and discuss, definitely go ahead and please do so in the live chat or comment section box below after this video streams. And if anything, let's go ahead and get into the discussion side of this episode. Let me see what some of you guys are saying real quick. And I will let you guys know too, I have started watching episode 4. I haven't finished it yet, but episode 4 is definitely the baby Paka episode. And I'm having some fun with it so far. I'm having some fun with it. I've been taking some notes, so I can't wait to definitely talk with you guys about it. So let's go ahead and get into episode 3 and seeing what you guys are saying. Emmanuel, what's up, Emmanuel? Shout out to Emmanuel for joining us today, too. I'm not even going to hold you. The action scene at the end went hard, even though it's Sentai footage. Oh yeah, when Void Knight winds up showing up. Oh yeah, that whole entire scene went hard for sure. My jaw dropped when he came onto the scene. I honestly forgot that whole entire moment from Real Soldier, but I loved it. He really put up a hell of a fight against the Rangers. Blossom saying that episode was pretty dang good. Sexy says this episode was awesome. Felt like an episode of Power Rangers in space. I like it. I like it. Emmanuel says, I love how Zato consistently uses the Raptors for travel. Haven't the Blazing Dimetro Zord in a while. Have you bought the Zords? I don't own any of the toys in regards to the Zords, but yeah, we definitely been seeing the Raptors a lot more than even something like a Dimetro Zord, which I feel like is a little bit weird. Well, I don't want to say weird, but Real Soldier, I feel like that the Dimetro Zord was definitely utilized for a significant amount of time, at least. I don't think it's gotten as nearly as much shine or even some other Zords as they did in Real Soldier. But I like the way that they're being handled here. I do like the way that they're being handled in this season. Blossom says, when Ollie called Amelia clueless, I know he's joking, but I wanted to punch him in the face. I don't blame you. Christian, Ollie and Amelia sitting in a tree, Kissing. One day. We'll see, man. We'll see. We'll see. See, Datilla ships Ollie and Amelia. I'm glad to see that I'm not alone in that. I'm glad to see I'm not alone in that. What's up, Charles? Good to certainly see you, Charles. Thank you very much for certainly coming through. Let's see here. Adam Perea says, just me, but I don't really mind the physical comedy. I always remember it was Nickelodeon's decision since Ninja Steel. Samurai was perfect with Femix because of Bull and Spike. Oh, yeah, I definitely get what you're saying. Yeah, I'm sure the physical comedy might work for some people for sure. And if it does, I'm glad it certainly works for you, Adam. Definitely, man. Emmanuel says, I hope in the final battle, Amelia uses the shadow armor and Ollie the light armor to show them appreciating each other's passions. Oh, that would be actually pretty cool. I kind of dig that idea. Kind of dig that idea, Emmanuel. Usai, what's up? Usai, appreciate you coming through. He says Ion was being a complete dick. Yeah, I thought so too. I was like, damn, Ion, that's pretty rough. Maybe you're the problem. Maybe you should like, why you gotta talk like very condescending, just like kind of talking down to Solon? Like, chill out, buddy. Like, she's a cyborg. She's I'm sure she's okay. Like, you coming down harsh on Solon. So I'm glad I'm not the only one, Usai. But thank you for pointing that out. Video DVD, good to see you in here, man. He says, my favorite episode till now. What a plot twist. When we thought it was their first fight, it was actually their second. Void Knight is close to reaching his goal. And more about Rafkon. Yeah, that tripped me out too. That honestly tripped me out too. I was thinking to myself, like, when I saw Amelia hurting her arm, I was like, I was trying to think back to episode 1 and 2 of this season. Like, did I miss something? Did I see was there a battle where she injured her arm and I just don't recall sort of thing? And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I don't remember. I was like, I guess they're rolling with the idea of like, hey, they're injuring themselves during battle sort of thing, right? Like I didn't even really think too much of it until we get to Swerve that you've actually already fought him before this episode even began. I was like, oh crap, that's pretty cool, man. So yeah, I definitely agree with you, video. I really appreciated the writing in here and the execution for sure. So Rob, what's going on? So Rob, good to see you, man. He says Ion will learn his lesson soon. Ooh, foreshadowing. I love it, So Rob. Thank you, man. Um, Willie, what's up, Willie? Says, yes, I have watched Power Rangers Dino Fury. I hope you're enjoying it, Willie. Thank you very much for certainly coming through and joining us here today. Blossom says Ollie may be a dingus, but he's pretty dang smart. He's still more of a dingus than Tomatillo from Kara Major. Yeah, he can definitely be a dingus for sure. Like Ollie has definitely said his ridiculous comments this season so far and treated people in a certain type of way. But when Ollie really wants to show out, he definitely shows out. I really appreciate that about him. He says, Michael, what's up, Michael? He says, Ollie is kind of the smart one because his mom is a genius. Haven't seen that since Billy. Noah was terrible in both seasons of Mega Force. Yeah, he hits, Ollie definitely hits a little bit different than Noah. That's for sure. So I agree with you. And he, like I said, definitely agree with Blossom in the sense that he can be a bit of a dingus. Some of the things that he says, some of his inventions just seem so off the wall, sort of thing. But he knows what he's talking about. Sometimes he really does. He really does. Datilla says, interesting theory, Adam. I didn't think about Rafkon having a cloak around it. I mean, like for me, that's just that was just a theory and something that came to mind just because I was just thinking to myself, man, the amount of power it would certainly take to have to move an entire planet. I know suns usually tend to be stationary and everything else kind of moves around it. But I would also think the idea of removing a planet would also mess up sort of gravitational pulls and stuff, right? And granted, maybe that's just the sci-fi nerd in me that's watched way too much television and movies to think that maybe Power Rangers would even delve into something like that, to think about that process of really moving an entire planet from where it's at to someplace else. And when I saw the Power Ranger episode, it just didn't seem like anything was really affected or bothered by it, with the exception of just the planet's not there, right? All the stars, all the suns are certainly there. Nothing else seems messed up whatsoever. So I think that's another reason why in my head I thought to myself, well, maybe it's standing right there in front of him, but he just can't see it because there's some sort of invisibility cloak or something protecting it in order for Ravkon to be hidden and heal, maybe since the battle 65 million years ago. And maybe something happened and just they just never um revealed it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like never brought it back. But again, it's just a theory, just something I was thinking about. Blossom says, I bet Ollie would sort of get along with my green Imaginatrix Ranger Elliot, but due to Elliot being 10 years old and Ollie's skeptical attitude, it's probably 50-50. Yeah, I can see Ollie being the one to accidentally crush his dreams by saying something he probably shouldn't. Charles, what's up, Charles? Good to see you, man. He says, is Zoo Ocean coming to Power Rangers in 2023? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. It's a rumor right now. Maybe as like a 30th anniversary special or some capacity. But we'll see. Let's see here. Enrique. Hey Adam, I watched first three episodes of Don Brothers. The Avatar changes were amazing. Can't wait for episode 4. Me either. I'm really looking forward to it, Enrique. In fact, if you guys haven't checked out our Don Brother reviews, please do so. They've actually been getting a ton of views. I'm actually quite surprised. Like our first episode review got like 700 something views. Our second and third are over 500 right now. We're really bringing in more viewers than even our Zenkaiger review. So I wonder if people just got so tired of Zenkaiger and were waiting for that to end and are like just super pumped about Don Brothers. Let's see here. Blossom says Void Knight was scarier than normal. Yeah, he came in determined and on a mission for sure. Nicole says, I love this episode. Give it 10 out of 10. Yeah, it was pretty brilliant. Pretty brilliant. Let's see here. Jordan, he says, I love how powerful the show made Void Knight while he's actually fighting. He never really seems to struggle against the Rangers. Yeah, he didn't seem to struggle like whatsoever. But then again, I will take that into account that they were really caught off guard. You know, the Rangers did not expect Void Knight, neither did I as a viewer, to get involved in that moment, sort of thing, too. So I think the idea of also getting the upper hand and surprising really goes a long way in regards to being able to take the Rangers down. Because I felt like that situation was much more different in the season finale in regards to how the Rangers handled Void Knight. You know what I mean? Two things from Jordan, A and O forever, Ollie and Amelia, or Amelia and Ollie. I love it. I love it, Jordan. And there's somebody else shipping them with me. I appreciate it. Sexy. This is AJ. He says, you ain't ready for a Dino Knight armor, and you ain't ready for how Master Black was adapted. No spoilers. I'm looking forward to it. Like I know the Master Black storyline in Dino Fury was pretty freaking cool. How it gets adapted in here though, I don't know. I'm trying to think storyline wise, like who could fit into that category. I'm wondering if I've seen them before on the show or not, but I will be looking forward to it. Definitely will be. Gabriel, he says, have you reached Void Knight's identity yet? I have not, with the exception of just him taking off his mask, being able to see who he is, seeing him rock the military garb also. with the medals that he was certainly wearing. There's a part of me that makes me think that he is like a commander or a general or something like that from Rafkon, but I could be absolutely wrong. I have no idea. But so no, I haven't got to the true revelation yet. I'm just in the process of watching episode 4 right now. Um, let's see here. Nicole says, "Isn't it crazy that the writing has been terrible when Power Rangers, Super Mega Force, and Ninja Steel were our current series? Time flies, and show writers do learn." Yeah, and well, yeah, writers definitely do learn, and they certainly do listen. But I also do think it's very handy in regards to who you have in charge, right, and the vision that that person wants for your show, um, that could potentially hold you back or let you be free in the type of content that you want to create. You know what I mean? So we've definitely have come a long way since Megaforce and Ninja Steel. And I think in part a lot of that has to do with, Chip Lynn, the new showrunner, and Simon Bennett, and really the idea of Hasbro taking charge of the property, and really changing some things up. So yeah, it's night and day compared to those past seasons. Adam says, "Do you think we'll ever get a Power Rangers series or Sentai where the morphers are touchscreen smartphones? We've had cell phones. That would be pretty cool, right? I feel like that's like a next. Who knows? Maybe in Jonathan and Whistles, it'll be like a Power Ranger app. You got to download from Google Store. Everybody will have the smartphone. They'll open up the app, hit their morphine sequence button, and then the whole entire thing will come onto their bodies for Jonathan and Whistles. I have no idea. We'll see. We'll see." All right, guys. I think other than that, I think that will wrap it up for our Dino Fury review today. So thank you very much, guys, for everybody that certainly joined us. But yeah, remember, guys, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. If you have any other thoughts for episode number 3, missing pieces, definitely let them be known in a live chat or the comment section box below, guys. I love talking Dino Fury with you guys, man. This season has just been so dang good. I know you guys have probably already watched the entirety of this season, and I'm the last person on earth to have finished this first half of the season. But I appreciate kind of taking my time and not binging it completely. But there's a part of me that definitely wants to find out what the hell is certainly going on. But I'm liking the pacing. I'm liking the pacing that we've gotten so far. And Simon Bennett and the cast and crew just continue to impress me each and every way. I will say this in regards to just a little sneak peek to episode number 4, the baby Paka reveal in the beginning when Homeboy just comes around the tree and turns the corner and we see him for the very first time. Hunter Dino's reaction is just priceless. Like, just get an opportunity to see Amelia immediately. Like, the first thing she says, it's almost like the cuteness overload just took over her body, and her body just bursts out. Oh my god, he's so cute. Like her body could not hold it in any longer, to the point to where I'm more convinced that that scene is more Hunter than it is Amelia, because I feel like that's very much her, and how cute and adorable she probably finds the baby Paka. I think she said this on social media several times, how in love she certainly is with it. And I thought her reaction for the very first time was absolutely priceless. So yeah, that was definitely much more Hunter in that scene than Amelia. Like, there was no acting going on. That was all Hunter. I'm pretty sure it was. But yeah, guys. But yeah, we will be doing an episode number 4 review for you guys again, either this weekend or like Monday or Tuesday. I will go ahead and certainly keep you posted. Um, Jordan says it's Morphin app. Absolutely, absolutely. That's where we're gonna go next, guys. Usai, good point though. He said, I kind of feel like Don Brothers kind of lightly touched on the smartphone thing, about how the Rangers got roped into this adventure, but the morph is just a repainted gun. By the way, Don Brothers is effing great. I definitely agree with you. But you're right. I'm glad you brought that up because it is like that, right? Like they have all come across some sort of smartphone with like some game kind of playing, right? So and that winds up activating the sunglasses and stuff. So you're probably mad. You're probably right. You're probably right. Blossom says Amelia is precious. She's like my Juro, except she's a girl. Yeah, Amelia definitely is precious for sure. There is an innocent naivety about her or a gullibleness about her that I just really appreciate. You know, like even though she may be gullible at times, she's definitely not dumb for sure. I mean, we definitely have seen her handle herself on more than several occasions, right? She definitely has that leadership role if she certainly needs to fall into it, but definitely a little bit of a naive kind of innocent, gullible aspect about her that it's hard to ignore. I absolutely love it. Don't get mad, but is it why you don't see Amelia being better than Kimberly because she was your first Pink Ranger? No, I think longevity has something to do with it. You know, it's nothing against Hunter. It's nothing against Amelia. I love these people as characters, but you haven't done anything. You know what I'm saying? Like you haven't done anything. Like Kimberly at least was around for like 3 seasons, or however long she was around to actually do some things, have some episodes. You know what I mean? Like for me, it's the longevity and what you've done with your time on screen. As great of a character as Amelia is, and as much as she's had some great moments in here, you know, for me, I can't put her above Kimberly because Kimberly's got like she's got like legacy character written all over her. I mean, some people may appreciate her as a character more than they do Kimberly, and in that regards, I can totally get it. But as far as a point of a better Pink Ranger than Kimberly, nah. There's a seniority sort of level here to this where you got to do a lot more, and you got to have and if you're not going to do 3 seasons worth of what Kimberly can do, then you know what, you're going to have a super impactful season. And there's still time for that. There definitely is still time. But for somebody for myself to but for somebody like myself to just give her 1 season and all of a sudden put her above Kimberly, nah, I find that almost a little bit disrespectful. But that's just me. That's just me. Um Yusai says, I don't know how I feel about Amelia and Ollie's relationship. I mean, there's a hint of them growing to become more than just friends, but Ollie is so dickies. However, this mom, though, deserves more episodes. Yeah, Dr. Arcana always deserves more episodes. Yeah, it's not everybody is gonna enjoy that relationship for sure. But it is something that I feel like I can kind of see. Adam says, but Amelia showcased the blazing battle armor and all original footage and has a unique personality. She definitely does. She definitely does. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying she hasn't done anything great. I'm just saying I feel like Kimberly has found herself probably in much more dire straits and situations and has had to overcome more during her 3 years or however long she was part of the team on MMPR. Granted, she wasn't there for the full 3 years, but I just think she's probably done a little bit more with her time. But again, time could certainly change. Time could certainly change. Everybody has their own favorite Pink, and Kimberly's not even my favorite Pink. Kimberly's not even my favorite Pink. So, um, all right, guys. I think with that out of the way, though, we certainly will be moving on to our next topic, and that continues to be in the realm of Power Rangers, ladies and gentlemen, as we are getting ever so close, I believe, to more Power Ranger news, hopefully dropping sooner rather than later. I think it was last summer at the Hasbro PulseCon. Didn't they say, hey, we've got some great Power Ranger content and news that we're going to be telling you guys rather soon? 6-7 months later, here we are. I'm still waiting for that news to drop. There have been some delays, I'm sure. Some making sure we're getting some shit right before we roll out a massive announcement and things like that. But I believe, guys, the time might be coming sooner rather than later. I say that because this week, um, Jinsaku himself, the Mr. Source Man, wind up giving us some information in regards to something we can kind of look forward to. We're going to go ahead and keep our fingers crossed and hope that this comes to realization. But let's go ahead and dive into this and see exactly what Jinsaku was saying as we talk a little bit more about this upcoming reboot. Jinsaku over on Twitter, this was, I believe, as of yesterday at around a little bit after noon. Um, he was talking about the idea that Deadline has officially done a small interview with Jonathan Entwistle himself. They're saying that this interview has already happened, that it's already taken place, but Deadline is certainly sitting on this interview before they go ahead and actually release it. And Jinsaku is under the impression that with the interview having already happened, that we should be getting this Deadline post hopefully within the next week or so. So I would assume maybe either sometime this week it winds up dropping. There have been rumors suggesting that sometime in March, they were going to go ahead and reveal to us some Power Ranger news. We're getting to the very end of March here. We're on the 26th. Next week will be the official last week of the month. And so if there is any news that hopefully we were supposed to be getting in March, I'm definitely hoping that next week will be it. If it's not next week, hopefully maybe the first couple of weeks into April. But according to Jinsaku, there is a small interview from Jonathan Entwistle where he talks about on what to expect from the new universe, and there's also a second one with the Entertainment One president or CEO, which that one I'm actually really looking forward to also, because for me, the idea of getting both of these people to go ahead and do an interview, I really want to see their mindset in regards to how they're approaching the Power Rangers and the building of this new universe. Like, there's a part of me that's hoping that the president or CEO kind of talks about maybe how Jonathan Entwistle pitched him this idea, how they've maybe been working on a much bigger scale to create this sort of interconnected cinematic universe, if you will. So I definitely want to see the process of this Power Ranger reboot happening from two different perspectives, one from Entwistle himself and one from the E1 president or CEO. There's a part of me that's also hoping that maybe the writer, Brian Edward Hill, if he doesn't have a quote or something to say in here, maybe somebody at least name drops him in regards to the time and effort that he's put into crafting this story, or unless they've gotten somebody else since Brian Edward Hill to go ahead and write this. But it seems as though, according to Jinsaku, in the Deadline post, we should be hopefully expecting the official movie title along with the expected release dates for the upcoming movie. So for me, as of right now, that would be a perfect amount of information. While they definitely have their casting sides, they may be in the casting process already as it is. I'm not under the impression that they have their team already cast in their entirety, but we'll definitely have to see. Hopefully, more details will come out once this Deadline post or interview with Entwistle certainly happens. But again, Jinsaku is reporting from his particular source that there was a Deadline interview already done that will be released here within the next week or so. And in that post, we would be getting ourselves a movie title, a release date, and an interview from Entwistle along with um, on what to expect from the new universe. And there's a second one with Entertainment One president or CEO. I'm thinking, I'm trying to reach out to Jinsaku right now. Um, Jinsaku, what's up, Jin? Appreciate you coming through. He says, also sorry for the 30 tweets you got to go through to see the news. Yeah, man. This morning I was trying to get everything pulled up, and I went to your profile. I'm like, damn it, I know his tweet is in here somewhere. I'm just scrolling and scrolling. But no, I found it. I've actually found it a lot easier than I thought I would. So no worries about that, Jinsaku. But I'm hoping for the viewers out there, whenever this Deadline post drops, I'm sure we'll probably If it's earlier in the week, I probably will do a solo video in regards to it. But if it's later in the week, we'll still talk about it regardless on A plus more phenomenal. But the week that the deadline post drops, I do want to try and get Jinsaku on the show, whether that be A plus more phenomenal and talk about it in regards to Power Rangers on a Saturday, or if he can't make it on a Saturday, maybe have him on a Sunday episode of A Plus Hero Report, and we talk further about the deadline article and Power Rangers. Because I would love to pick Jinsaku's brain. The gentleman, I mean, he's very in tune when it comes to not only Power Rangers but Tokusatsu as well. So it should make for a really great sort of conversation and discussion back and forth in regards to what we're going to be getting from Jonathan Entwistle. So appreciate you coming through, Jinsaku, in the live chat today. But really looking forward to this, man. I cannot emphasize just the level of anticipation I have for what Jonathan Entwistle is really going to create. You know, going into this, the one thing that I will always tell people is this could be very hit or miss. You know what I mean? Anytime you are taking over a property and you want to reboot and reimagine something, especially when it has a fan base already, that can be relatively risky. But I will say this. I do think that a risk is very much needed when it comes to Power Rangers. So, you know, anytime that Hasbro wants to take and properly getting this universe put together, properly making sure that the writing and the characters and the action is certainly where you need it to be, certainly take the time that you need. Because I do want to see Power Rangers get back into mainstream or at least be recognized once again. And I think the idea of this finally being brought into the streaming world and getting some fresh eyes and a fresh vision and a fresh take on the property will really do this franchise wonders. And I can tell you right now, there are going to be people that are not happy with it. That they're going to say, this is not my Power Rangers. I'm pretty sure there will definitely be some people out there like that. But if you don't try, you'll never know, right? And you know, we could sit back and continue for another 5 years of doing the same old, and continue to slowly see the ratings for this show dwindle and not change a thing to make it better, and see eventually it fall by the wayside. But if this franchise is going to fall by the wayside, I'd rather it fall on its sword, attempting to do something that hasn't been attempted to do before. And again, can that be scary? Absolutely. But I also love the idea of it being unique and being rather, probably, I'm hoping creative. The fact that it feels very much like the creative handcuffs are kind of taken off, and it'll be interesting to see what Hasbro and these writers and showrunners really have in mind for what Power Rangers could be. And again, I will go back to say, somebody like a Michael Lombardo, who I believe is president of like television, I think over for Entertainment One. You know, him along with his crew in regards to sorting through the content and the material that people are presenting to them in regards to, hey, these are some shows and ideas and concepts that we want to try and get greenlit based off of Lombardo's past and his connection with HBO and some really great content that he's greenlit and produced. Is making me hopeful that when it comes to something like Power Ranger content, they're really focusing and finding new ways to tell this story and really grow the franchise even more to make it more popular. So I feel like we've got the people in place to certainly make it work, even behind the writers and things like that and the showrunners. So I'm hoping, I'm just keeping my fingers crossed and hoping that this turns out to be pretty fantastic. So once we get more Power Ranger reboot news, guys, we'll definitely go ahead and certainly let you know. Again, Hasbro right now is currently working on a 30th anniversary situation, whether or not that's a movie, a limited series, a mini series, who knows? But it seems as though Hasbro's not only just doing the 30th anniversary, but they're very, very much focused on the Power Rangers reboot stuff. And I almost expect the reboot news for this stuff to definitely come out sooner than what we might be getting for the 30th anniversary. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted once we get more details. Let's see here. Just want to see what some of you guys are saying. Marcelino says it's good to know that we will get a release date and title, but it feels too early, especially since we don't have a cast or even a lot of promotion. Well, I think if because of the fact that we don't have the cast or any promotion or anything like that, I think this is probably the extent of the information that we could get. I did plenty of times we've seen titles even before we've seen the cast. Plenty of times we've gotten release dates before we've seen the cast. And when I mean by release dates, I mean like March 2023 or like May 2023, right? Like a not a specific release date, but maybe like a time period, like when you can kind of expect it to drop, right? So that's kind of what I'm expecting. And hopefully, this will definitely give us a much better glimpse in regards to what's being created, maybe a sense of how things are very much connected, or if he gives us any insight and teases as to what we can expect, right? Like, how connected will the kids programming side of things be to, say, the animation, to the live action series, or even to the movie, right? One of my theories and speculations has always been I would love for the movie team to actually then spin off into its own live action series, and they be the team in the live action series that we get for the season also. Whether or not that's something that's going to be revealed to us, I don't know, but that's definitely a theory and speculation that I have. Adam Perez says, I thought you don't allow Power Ranger talk on Hero Report. It's not that I don't allow Power Ranger talk on Hero Report. It's just that I already have a channel and a 3-hour show that's kind of already devoted to it. So I try and push all the Power Ranger content to just this channel and have A Plus Hero Report be its own thing. But every once in a while, we definitely will talk about Power Rangers on there if it's big enough. If it's a big enough story, like the Jonathan Entwistle stuff, I probably will focus on Hero Report too from time to time. But we'll see. Again, we do have some channel updates that are coming to kind of give you guys a much better look as to where we're going with the channel and stuff. But I it's just the only reason why I try not to talk about Power Rangers so much on Hero Report is because we already have 3 hours in the weekend that we already talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, how much more can I talk about it when I want to give time to other things also? You know what I mean? So, but I don't mind talking about on Hero Report, especially if it's certainly worth discussing. And I think the Jonathan Entwistle stuff certainly will be. Jinsaku says, I love the idea of having multiple projects. So if one's not for you, the other might be. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that we do have kids programming, adult themed stuff, animation, right? It definitely feels like a little bit of everything for somebody. So even if you aren't necessarily the biggest fan of the live action, maybe that kid programming you'll still eat up because who knows? I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Simon Bennett comes back and continues the show run for them. In doing things in a much more original light, but maybe kind of keeping true to the formula that we've seen, but just all in original footage. But we'll see. But I think you make a great point, Jinsaku. There's going to be a little bit of everything for everybody. Mikey, what's up, Mikey? Good to see you in here. He says, is the movie going to be on Netflix or theaters? It's going to be on Netflix. It's going to be on Netflix. Netflix did go ahead and put together a deal with Hasbro for, it seems like, the Power Rangers cinematic universe. So I am expecting the movie to be on Netflix. Same thing with the adult themed series, animation, and kids programming. I'm actually expecting all that to be on Netflix. Now, whether or not that's a good thing to have all their content in one place, we'll definitely see. But it seems as though Netflix is pretty invested in having a cinematic universe on their streaming platform. But yes, it will be in on Netflix. It will be in a Netflix movie. Moriba, what's up, Moriba? He says it is a limited series. Also, I can confirm it's the 30th season. Interesting. Okay. Not sure if I've had you in here before, Moriba. So I am we'll see if we can take your word for it. But that's one of the things that we've been mentioning, right? We've been talking about the idea that I don't believe it's going to be a full season. There's no way you can film a full season, just one season of Power Rangers in, was it 4 to 5 weeks? I believe is what they said. So, we've been pushing around here the theory that yeah, it could either be very limited or mini series. Or it could be like a movie special to kind of celebrate the 30th anniversary. But Moriba seems pretty confident, pretty confident. So we'll see here. We'll see. Enrique says, will a reboot movie or a series be revealed a release date on Morphicon 2020 or Hasbro PostCon? It may come as early as in the next week or so, Enrique. I think that's what this deadline post is in an attempt to do, to not only give us a title for the upcoming movie, but also to give us a release date potentially for the movie. I think it'll be month and year, not month, date, and year, just to kind of give them some wiggle room. Hell, it just may be a year for all we know. Who knows? So I expect them to announce it in the deadline post, even before we get to Power Morphicon. Blossom says the reboot. I don't know about this, and trust me, I'm pretty sure you're not alone in regards to that worry and hesitancy. Blossom, I'm pretty sure anybody that's a Power Ranger fan, maybe some levels of hesitancy, right? Just as that uncertainty of not knowing what's to come. But I think at the end of the day, we'll see. I think this is probably the best thing for the franchise. At least somebody else getting a crack at it to see what they can certainly do. That certainly doesn't hurt. But we'll definitely see how things transpire as we wind up getting more news. But once we do get the deadline post, we'll certainly bring you a video and certainly talk with you guys about it, and then talk about it a little bit more on A Plus More Phenomenal, guys. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in regards to your levels of anticipation for getting more news and information. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And with that, guys, we will go ahead and move on to our next topic, and that is in the realm of tokusatsu. We're going to start taking that course from Power Rangers into tokusatsu, as we got a couple of articles and topics to go ahead and break down. Kamen Rider. Toei Company is really pushing the boundaries on Kamen Rider this year, really trying to broaden that particular franchise here, seemingly into the States, or at least into the US sort of entertainment, if you will. We've got a couple of Kamen Rider projects that are definitely set to hit us. We've talked openly about the Kamen Rider Fudo P animated series that I think is supposed to be streaming on Funimation, or is that now Crunchyroll, since those two wind up merging? I don't even know anymore. We also got what else we got? We got a couple other Kamen Rider projects certainly happening, but one of them that's I'm really looking forward to, it seemingly is the very adult and mature themed Kamen Rider Black Sun. We've been waiting for more details, especially more visuals. We've been trying to keep you guys up to date in regards to Kamen Rider Black Sun around here anytime any news winds up dropping. And this week, we're actually getting some images, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. Our first look, if you will, new visuals at the Kamen Rider costumes themselves for Black Sun, as we get the opportunity to see two Kamen Riders that are going to be highlighted in this. Now, mind you, I believe this is a reboot or at least a remake of a previous season that I unfortunately have not seen. But looking at these costumes, seeing just how much more mature and serious it's really taken itself just based off of the designs, these not only look creepy, there's like a horrifying element to it that I'm really looking forward to. I get so many like Guyver vibes from this costume. It just seems so alien to me that you've got my attention already, Black Sun. You definitely do. So let's go ahead and dive into this. This article, just so we can get a much better look at some of these characters here. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull this up here. This article is actually from Toku Nation. Toku Nation. Oh, I'm sorry, Tokusatsu Network. This is the Tokusatsu Network. New visuals for Kamen Rider Black Sun revealed. It says several new character visuals for the Kamen Rider Black Sun project have been revealed via the Black Sun website. These new visuals give us our first look at the modern reimagining of title character. You've got Kamen Rider Black. Let me go ahead and pull up this photo. Boom. Look at that, dude. Kamen Rider Black, Kotaro Mini Minam. Hold on. Kotaro Minami is his name. So we get some great first looks here. Let me also go ahead and drop this so you can see this is another side image for Kamen Rider Black Sun. This is just so badass. I absolutely love the design of this. Here's a much better photo of a much closer up photo of the two Kamen Riders. I don't know why, but is the Kamen Rider in silver, is that a female? I can't tell. I'm just going based off of stature, like height. I am curious if that's a female Kamen Rider, but I could be absolutely wrong in regards to that. But I thought that was actually a pretty cool side image of Kamen Rider Black. It also says we also have been given our first look at the reimagined Kamen Rider Shadow Moon. Here's Shadow Moon for you guys. Yeah, that looks pretty menacing also. No, I don't think this is a female. This is definitely a dude, I think. But yeah, this is Kamen Rider Shadow Moon Nobuhiko Akizuki. And they also have a pretty gnarly side a side profile of him too. I really love this. The detail, the attention to detail, the little crevices and curves, the little extra shadows that they wind up creating. This just looks so incredibly alien, and I'm just eating it up. It's really taking itself seriously. And this is another visual for the project showcases Kamen Rider Black and Shadow Moon side by side. And this is the image that we showed you guys also. How are you liking these designs? Are these like pretty over the top? Is this not quite what you expected in regards to their rendition of Kamen Rider Black? It says the final visual released for the production gives us another look at the Kamen Rider Black's Battle Hopper motorcycle, as well as our first look at the Kamen Rider Shadow Moon motorcycle. Here's a better visual for you guys. Kamen Rider and his motorcycles is just very much key. It's almost you can't go anywhere for Kamen Rider without a motorcycle in a season. So I love the fact that they're at least giving them these motorcycles here to check out. But it says Kamen Rider Sun is a modern reimagining of the 1986 Kamen Rider series, Kamen Rider Black. It says the project is directed by Kazuya Shiraishi from The Blood of Wolves and The Devil's Path. Regarding the conclusion of the production filming. So production is already done. It seems like conclusion of the production's filming. This is what the director said. He says, "I'm burnt out. I'm just pure white ashes now. I have nothing but thanks to the filming staff and cast for giving their all. My heartfelt gratitude goes to them now for making a truly interesting production that I want everyone to see soon. Filming has concluded, but now we're moving on to the finishing touches. With a fresh mind, I will put all my power in making this the best it can. Everyone can please look forward to this." It does say that Izumi Takahashi serves as the screenwriter for the project. Kiyotaka Toguchi, hey, that sounds super familiar, guys. Director of Ultraman Z as a special effects director. I'm completely there. And then they even have the director of the Shin Godzilla and Shin Ultraman film as the visual concept designer for the project. So they've got some really big names sort of attached to really make this Black Sun project really work. Visually, I think it's definitely going to work. And it's got me even more excited for this series. It says Black Sun currently is set to premiere in the fall of 2022. So it is going to be dropping later on this year. So that's cool to know. I didn't know that they also interviewed the director of Kamen Rider Black Sun who confirms that filming is done. It is currently going into post production to go ahead and officially wrap. But I'm looking forward to this. And for me, for somebody who hasn't watched Kamen Rider Black, the original, I kind of appreciate the fact that they're going over the shows once again, right? Like for me, same thing happened with Ultraman Trigger. While Ultraman Trigger was a new generation Tiga, it was sort of like a rebooting of, or a remake or a reimagining of um Ultraman Tiga from back in the day. And so for me, for somebody who hasn't seen those older seasons, this is a really cool sort of catch up, if you will, of finally being able to see what these series are certainly like, maybe in the more modern time period, if you will. And so for me, it's really invested me into these new franchises, instead of having, don't get me wrong, while I definitely should appreciate the idea of going back and checking out some of the past seasons and things like that, the fact that they are aware that not everybody's going to go back, that if you want to try and attract people now, maybe take some of your better stories, adapt them to a more modern time, and sort of re-release them with new key and better visuals and stuff to maybe really draw people back into the franchise, or new people into the franchise that have never been introduced to Kamen Rider, or even say like Ultraman or whatever else Toei is certainly working on. I know Ultraman's not Toei, but it definitely seems as though they are certainly trying to do that with Kamen Rider, and it's definitely appreciated because it's going to go a long way with somebody like me who, again, hasn't seen Kamen Rider Black, but I can tell you right now, Kamen Rider Black Sun certainly has my attention in regards to how it's handling itself. They told me they were going to create something mature with a great storyline, and this feels very much right up my alley. So I'm very much excited for it. But just to go ahead and highlight the photos again, we've got Kamen Rider Black on the right in black, and then we got Kamen Rider Shadow Moon to the left. So yeah, guys, enjoy those key visuals. And speaking of visuals, guys, we've got more visuals. This time, though, not necessarily in regards to Kamen Rider, but good old Ultraman. That's right, man. Shin Ultraman is back in the news. This is a movie that technically should have dropped last year, during the summer, but due to the pandemic and everything that happened with COVID, they had to push the release date back sort of once again, if you will. And now this summer, we are officially getting Ultraman, Shin Ultraman, the movie. I believe it drops in May. I could be wrong, but we'll definitely go ahead and dive into it. As this week, we did get ourselves some new visuals for the Ultraman movie itself, as promotion really continues to uptick. I think what we're like 2 weeks, 2 months away from this movie dropping. So yeah, it would make sense that marketing has officially begun. So let me go ahead and showcase to you guys some of the new visuals that we've gotten, as we did get ourselves a brand new official poster. There you go. May 13th on a Friday, this movie releases. May 13th is going to be Shin Ultraman, one that I'm really, really looking forward to. But let's go ahead and dive into this article. This is also from Tokusatsu Network. Two new visuals for Shin Ultraman officially released. It says a new poster and banner for Subaraya. I'll pull that up. For Subaraya production, Shin Ultraman have been revealed. They feature the Great Giant of Light alongside various cast members with the caption "Fantasy and Romance and Friendship." Is what it says. It says these images will appear in Japanese theaters nationwide from March 18th, to promote the upcoming release of Shin Ultraman, with more information teased to be coming soon. Yeah, and I'm sure as we get closer to the release date, for sure, we definitely will be getting more information. This is one of the banners that wind up dropping. I'll go ahead and actually pull this up visually so you guys can see. They do have the cast members listed on there also. This feels very much like a billboard ad that you would find um, on the side of the road. But yeah, it is slated to release in Japan on May 15th. But here it says May 13th. But yeah, man, I mean, can Ultraman actually have an ass though? I mean, this dude's got like no backside whatsoever. Like, my goodness, who comes up with some of the designs for these? But yeah, guys, just really promotional work, promotional artwork, really showcasing that the uptick for its marketing is officially going to begin. And again, it would not surprise me, honestly, if within the next week or so, and as we get closer, that we get more details, whether that be interviews with the director themselves, interviews with the cast members, maybe more plot details. I would assume maybe even an additional trailer to go along with this, and maybe another, I mean, another poster and trailer before May even certainly gets here. So a lot to look forward to, guys. Again, I have been recommending the movie Shin Godzilla to you guys for ages. I definitely would recommend checking it out. I actually, now that I think about it, let me go ahead and check something out, because let me go to my videos section, because something tells me that I do have, yeah, I do have the Shin Godzilla movie. It's about 8 GB, just under 2 hours, but it's great quality. It is English dubbed, but the English dub actually works incredibly well, really timed up really well with the Japanese language. So maybe if you guys are interested in checking out Shin Godzilla for yourself, maybe I'll move that movie over. I don't know. Can I even put it in my Google Drive? I'll try and put it in my Google Drive and see if I can maybe drop a link somewhere for you guys to check out Shin Godzilla whenever you get the chance. Because I've been recommending it. And if you guys get a chance to check it out, if you like monster movies, if you like Godzilla in general, you might get the opportunity to see exactly why I'm so excited about Shin Ultraman and even Shin Godzilla. I mean, Shin, what's the Shin Kamen Rider that they're creating also. So I am really, really looking forward to it. I think I lost an overlay here, but yeah, guys, you go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in regards to Shin Ultraman. Is it something that you're looking forward to or not? I am definitely kind of curious to know. And then last but not least, wait, is this the last topic? No, I got two more. This will be the last Ultraman topic that we dive into today, which I want to go ahead and get through. We officially checked out Ultraman Trigger, the most recent season of Ultraman. If you guys haven't had the opportunity to check it out, I would recommend it. For me, as a first timer when it comes to the Ultraman franchise, there were aspects about it I really enjoyed. Some aspects about it a little bit confusing, just based off of the lore that surrounds Ultraman after all these years. But it was an enjoyable one that I probably would check out future Ultraman series because of my enjoyment of this one. And so, with Ultraman Trigger officially wrapped up, us patiently waiting for the next official series, I would recommend also check us out, our reviews over on our YouTube channel. We do have Ultraman Trigger reviews. So if you want to watch this season and catch our reviews along the way and watch along, you certainly can do so, but they are up on our YouTube page. But it seems as though the next Ultraman series is officially here, guys. Ultraman Decker has officially been revealed as we get a new look at the upcoming suit itself. This was actually revealed way back on March 17th, so a little bit more than a week ago over on Toku Nation. But I thought this was actually pretty interesting. Let me go ahead and pull up this image for you guys. And in turn, I will go ahead and read the information here from Ultraman Decker. Again, this is from TokuNation.com, letting us know that in case you missed it, Subaraya Productions filed the trademark for the next entry of the Ultraman franchise. And we finally have our first look at the new hero on the block, Ultraman Decker, in this new teaser video found online. Other info such as characters, plot, and settings aren't known at the time of this posting, but we'll sure be we'll be sure to keep you up to date as more information arrives. And so this is Ultraman Decker, ladies and gentlemen. This is the new series that we're going to be getting in the new costume. And I got to tell you, man, I really love this costume. There is something about this duality of the costume that the idea of like the right and the left of it. Ultraman D. July. Oh, dropping July. I didn't even know there was a release date attached to this. So yeah, guys, it'll be here before you know it. July of 2022. I believe what another 25 episodes or so. But I really love this design. It definitely has an Ultraman trigger design to it for sure. At least when I look at the back here. Let me see. So we get the close up shot right here. You see the little gold armor over the shoulder here. That definitely reminds me very much of Ultraman Trigger. The other side of him, his right side, though, very much bare. But it seems as though the left side is very armored. It's not like it's got like his health clock, if you will, or whatever it is, on his left hand side. It even looks like he's got like a chest plate armor that protects most of that side. We even see like his gauntlets on his arms and everything. So it's very much one side armored, the other side maybe not as much. But I love the movement of his light source, if you will, or life source. It looks pretty good, simple, and I even love like the galaxy look on his forehead here. This close-up shot, if you will, of the galaxy, where his gemstone or wherever that is. It's a pretty cool looking design for a helmet. So I feel like when it comes to the Ultraman designs, certainly are a lot of familiar or similarities, I should say. Um, just maybe with tweaks here and there, I continue to kind of notice. So color scheme very much on par, but I really do love sort of the half armor, half suit sort of look that we're getting so far. So yeah, guys, July 2022 will be the next season of Ultraman. So if you guys have been debating, should I get into Ultraman? Should I not? Please go ahead and let me know. Actually, let me see if I can pull this up one more time. I forgot that I had they did have a trailer here. So this is what I was talking about. So they approach him from the back, but when you see here, he's got that the gold on his back too. So yeah, you can definitely see the emphasis of like trigger there for sure. And then he even has a cool like diamond or stone on his head with the galaxy. And then he's got his life source little light on his left hand side, which just looks like a little armored plate, also, as you can see, along with the armored left side of him. Really cool, man. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. But yeah, guys, go ahead and certainly let me know your guys' thoughts. And if this is something that you'll be checking out for yourself or not when it comes to Ultraman. I definitely will be checking it out for sure. But definitely let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. Let's see here. I do want to jump back into your comments real quick before we move on. See what some of you guys are saying in regards to some of the things that we wind up highlighting, from Kamen Rider all the way to Ultraman. We got Kyle in the house. What's going on, Kyle? Good to see you in here, man. Thank you very much for certainly stopping by. I'm not sure if we've seen Kyle Brooks around here before, but always good to have a new face. Enrique says, is there going to be a Kamen Rider Revised spinoff? Kamen Rider Vol coming? Yes, I believe they did drop I believe Kamen Rider Revised did drop a trailer for Vol. You could probably find that on Toku Nation or Toku. I think I saw it on the Tokusatsu Network website. So if you want to go ahead and check it out, Enrique, that's where I found it. Blossom says, that costume for Black Sun is scary, right? It looks terrifying. Black Sun is going to be a movie. Oh, thank you, Enrique, for the clarification. I don't know why I thought it was going to be a series. They've just got so many Kamen Rider projects that I might be getting them mixed up in my head. But thank you for the clarification on it being a movie. He says the Black Sun driver looks awesome. Yeah, it did look pretty cool design. Blossom says the costume looks like a demonic shadow Borg. Yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. I absolutely love it. Nightmare fuel at best. Yeah, definitely won't be sleeping well, that's for sure. Adrian, what's up, Adrian? Any updates on when the rest of season 2 arrives? And if we're getting another adaptation for the 30th, well, as of right now, there is no release date on season 2 of Dino Fury. Simon Bennett did say his suggestion for watching part 1 would be to watch each episode weekly. So if there are 11 episodes, maybe 11 weeks from then. Now, whether or not that means you watch the 11 weeks and then part 2 drops, that I don't know. Simon Bennett certainly didn't let us know about that, but to at least stretch out that time until the second half of season 2 arrives, definitely check out the episodes week by week if you haven't already binged them. But yeah, no release date as of yet. As far as another adaptation for PR 30th, right now there are definitely rumors out there. Maybe a focus on Zoologer, might be something completely different. Again, it's only filming for 4 to 6 weeks, which is not enough time for an entire season. So I think we should, mindset wise, start expecting either a limited series or a mini series or maybe even a movie from this 30th anniversary. It feels very much more like a special than an actual full on season. Now I don't know whether or not that's going to be all original footage or using Super Sentai adaptation. We just don't have all the answers as of yet right now, Adrian. Yusai says these Kamen Rider black suits go so damn hard. Really hyped to watch this. I definitely agree, man. They outdid themselves. They outdid themselves. Enrique says, "Are there forms for Ultraman Decker? If there are, they have not been revealed yet. Usually, Ultramans will have some sort of other forms for them to transform into. Have not seen them yet when it comes to Ultraman Decker. Doesn't mean that they're not there. Just haven't seen them yet." And no cast members revealed. This is really our very first look at Decker. The previous news that we had before was literally them doing the trademark for Ultraman Decker. And this is really only the second piece of news that we've gotten in regards to revealing what Ultraman Decker will look like. I'm sure as we get more updates, all that information you're asking for will certainly drop. All right, guys. And he also asked, "Have I checked out the Zenkaiger versus Karamager versus Senpaiger images?" I believe I have. I think we've talked about them last week or the week prior when the trailer and stuff dropped. If they came out with more photos after the trailer dropped, then no, I have not seen it. All right, guys. And then last topic for the day before we get into your guys' live viewer questions is in regards to Don Brothers and Super Sentai in general. You know, one of the really up and coming websites over the past year or so, and especially ever since that they got like true confirmation from Hasbro in regards to being like part of Team Hasbro officially when it comes to Power Rangers news kind of going forward. Mega Power Brazil continues to drop some really great articles and information. And while I know that they were definitely going to be focusing more on Power Rangers, I had no idea that they also dabbled a little bit in tokusatsu. As this week, they wind up dropping an article here in an interview with Toei planning director, where he actually comments on the future of Super Sentai and target audiences. I feel like this conversation of the future of Super Sentai really coming into our attention and our view over the past couple of weeks, ever since Kiji Brother, the actor that plays Kiji Brother on Don Brothers, said in a recent interview that we talked about that the showrunners kind of emphasized the idea like, hey, if you guys don't put your best foot forward, you know, we may not have a 47th season of Super Sentai. I felt it was more or less like a sign of encouragement, you know, put your best foot forward, don't let us down, sort of thing, more so than, yeah, the show's coming to an end. You know what I mean? Like I didn't take it that way, but we'll see. Let's dive into this interview and see what this gentleman is saying. Again, this comes to us from um Mega Power Brazil. Great website, especially if you're a Power Ranger and Tokusatsu fan. It says Shirakura, director of planning and production for Super Sentai and Kamen Rider franchise at Toei, stirred up the fan community of the Japanese series known as Tokusatsu last month with his statements involving the future of colorful heroes. In his latest statement, Shirakura commented that Super Sentai would undergo several changes over the next couple of years. This transformation conflicted with the statement of actors, stars of Don Brothers, who commented on the possibility of the franchise ending, but now everything is clarified. He says in a recent interview with the Brazilian channel, Shirakura answered some questions asked by the Japanese teacher. He says Shirakura was asked about the future of Super Sentai and was very incisive in his response. The franchise will continue regardless of ratings and product sales, is what he says. So again, this is coming from Shinichiro Shirakura, who is the director of planning and productions for Super Sentai and Kamen Rider at Toei. It says the franchise will continue regardless of ratings and product sales. He also took the opportunity to talk about the actors' statements. According to him, the speech concerns the fact that the actors give their best as if Don Brothers were the last season and not that it would actually be the last. That's kind of what we kind of hinted at is the vocabulary that I got from it so much that hey, if you guys suck at this, we're not going to do this anymore. You know what I mean? This felt much more like an encouragement to put your best foot forward. So it says the channel asked about the expansion of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider franchise. And this is how he explained. He says Super Sentai is already expanding to the whole world as Power Rangers. But for now, but from now on, we want to expand Kamen Rider. We think the movie Shin Kamen Rider that we aim to release in 2023 could be an opportunity for that. So I find that intriguing. It seems as though Kamen Rider, they definitely have taken their best foot forward and are certainly pushing the hell out of it, right? We can definitely tell that from Toei already. But the fact that it feels very much like they have embraced the idea that Super Sentai in their eyes at this point is Power Rangers in a sense of being able to have an overarching reach to people, right? So it seems like Super Sentai is much more focused now, especially as we've seen in the Reiwa era, to really focus on doing things differently from a TV point of view and from what they've had in the past. Kara Major, Zenkaiger, Don Brothers all seem uniquely different and a different pace to Super Sentai series that we've gotten before the Kira Major season wind up dropping. I would attribute that to the changing of eras. Now going into the Reiwa era, they clearly have taken their own liberties and have changed things up. So Super Sentai feels very much like it's not going to be expanded the same way that Kamen Rider is, that expansion will come maybe more in the form of how they tell their stories for their series on television. Whereas as far as being able to outreach and expand for Super Sentai, they still very much feel like Power Rangers is doing very much that. And that I find that fascinating because that's one of the things that we've always talked about around here, especially from when we first started with the news of this potential Hasbro and Toei split sort of thing, right? One of the things that I mentioned there was for people that felt like, how can you do Power Rangers without it being Super Sentai? And one of the things that I said to that argument was Power Rangers is inherently always going to be Super Sentai, right? Super Sentai gave birth to Power Rangers. Power Rangers has always been connected to Super Sentai in some form or another. Doesn't matter if you see the Sentai footage on the screen or not, they are inherently linked. Anytime that you mention Power Rangers, you cannot, I don't care how many times you reboot or reimagine it, not talk about Super Sentai either, because they will always be connected. The ideas and concepts that Jonathan Entwistle are creating and storylines and stuff, all of that, regardless of how creative and unique those storylines are, make no mistake, Power Rangers is inspired by Super Sentai. And to the point to where even Toei looks at it as our expansion of Super Sentai in the whole world is Power Rangers. That's how we are now being known for, or in the sense of when you think of Power Rangers, that is the expansion of where Super Sentai has now come. And I think that's actually pretty incredible. And I think that's another sort of reassuring fact for me that when we do get this stuff, this new stuff from Jonathan Entwistle, even if it is all sort of original footage, there is always going to be some element of Super Sentai that's going to be attached to it. And I don't mean Zord battles, I just mean the inspiration for what we have comes directly from that. And I think that helps me just sleep a little bit better at night, knowing that I at least still have my Super Sentai connection there. So I thought that was actually pretty interesting comment that he winds up making. It says, with this line, we can imagine that at least for the moment, Toei will only put efforts in Japan, land of the Super Sentai, while the West will continue with Power Rangers. Another question raised by Charles was about the current target audience for Super Sentai, and that was the answer. He says the target audience for Super Sentai is always, as always, is boys aged between 3 and 6, but we have plans to expand age range of people who watch it a little bit further. And I can feel that in Don Brothers. I can feel that in Don Brothers. Um, they do definitely have some lighthearted elements in there. I do wonder if that felt very much more in Zenkaiger for me. Whereas when he says we have plans to expand the age range of people who watch it a little bit further, that also tells me things like Don Brothers going that extra distance. Even the Toei Tokusatsu fan club, the little shorts that they're putting together there, right? The Yodana 2-part special, definitely adult. The Real Soldier, Legacy of the Master Souls 3-part that we wind up getting, definitely more adult in regards to its tone also. So they are creating content outside of just their own Super Sentai series that's really pushing the envelope. And it even seems like when it comes to Don Brothers, while there are certain lighthearted elements to it that can attract 3 to 6 year olds, you can definitely see the push of maybe a more adult narrative included as well. So they are finding a really great pace. And I think the fact that Super Sentai can find that balance gives me all the more hope that Hasbro can hopefully do it too. I feel like we're not quite there yet with Power Rangers and Simon Bennett, but it feels like that's something that Simon Bennett is very much aware of. The idea that while you are making your target audience about 6 years old, you also do have to expand the age range um, a little bit further. And I feel like Simon Bennett recognizes that and he's doing that to Power Rangers. So I think Super Sentai is definitely there already working on that, whereas we're still playing a little bit catch up. But I can see exactly what he's referring to here. But they do have a full interview. If you want to go ahead and check it out at the bottom and listen in. I don't know if it's all in Spanish or English or if it's translated. I haven't checked it out or not. But if you guys want to go ahead and check this out even further, again, this is Mega Power Brazil. Article dropped March 16th for Toei Planning Director and his interview. If you want to go ahead and check it out a little bit further, but I thought this was a great article, man. I really did. I thought I'm really glad that they at least gave us some comments from the planner himself to let us know, like, hey guys, you don't got to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not going anywhere. So yeah. He did also say Shirakura. He says an official post made on Toei's blog, Shirakura made a brief comment about the future of Power Rangers, excuse me, of Super Sentai, and what maybe fans can expect from the franchise. So he said this while we just did an interview that talked to him March 16th on an interview back in February 27th. He also talked to Mega Power Brazil. And let's see if we can. I didn't even know he had this interview too. This is kind of like a last minute addition here, but let's just see what he says. He says, once upon a time, Super Sentai was synonymous with groups of heroes. Once upon a time, the Power Rangers took the world by storm. However, times changed. From the other side of the world came the Avengers and the Justice League, their Super Sentai team, right? And Kamen Rider, which used to be synonymous with lone heroes, who has become one big group. Why are there five of them? People have asked Super Sentai this question for years, but nowadays it's more like, why are there only five of them? From the early days of the Heisei riders, Ryuki, there were signs that the numbers were changing. The Kamen riders have become a Sentai that works together more than just multi character series. The first of them was Den O, the main character, along with the four Taros, formed a team. If this isn't a Sentai, what is? There's even an additional warrior. Even the Revice brothers are more in line with Super Sentai. The boom of American comic book heroes in the West is thanks to the generation that grew up with Power Rangers, who are still looking for heroes. In other words, Super Sentai is the power behind today's heroes. Super Sentai is the fertile ground that is yet to be exhausted. If that's the case, it's obvious what Super Sentai needs to do. It must trim the edges. It should open the possibilities for heroes. Let's go let go of tradition and take a new step forward that has not yet been considered. This year, a first new step in the history of heroes is about to take place. Damn, yo, that gave me goosebumps, right? He recognizes the impact that Super Sentai has had, not only on Power Rangers, but really, truly a huge influence in regards to the world of superheroes that we have today. Referencing those like the Avengers and Justice League, how the comic book world has taken the West by storm. And now we've got all these superheroes in this world that we live in. Make no mistake, Super Sentai is certainly the OG in that capacity. I kind of dig that idea and that concept. Like, so for me, this really just showcases the growth of Super Sentai over the years from where it began, the changes that have happened over the years, and the understanding that while you are Super Sentai, you have truly laid the groundwork for so much that we have these days, that you want to continue to create that groundwork and change things up and continue to let go of tradition and really take that step forward. Just showcasing the evolution of what these seasons have become. Talking about the idea of taking next steps towards what has not yet been considered. A Super Sentai is fertile ground that has yet to be exhausted. Right after 46 years, we're still going strong. We still come up with ideas and maybe not always the freshest takes of things, but that's where this feels very much like where we're going. Unique, different, and letting go of tradition feels very much like the groundwork that Super Sentai is now about to lay down for us in this crazy world of superheroes that we certainly have. So there's definitely room for Super Sentai to certainly continue. But man, I just really powerful comments from the Toei planning director there. But does this give you any hope in regards to where Super Sentai is certainly going? I love the recognition of just where superheroes are in general these days, and really how many have to thank Super Sentai for sort of laying that groundwork, especially when it comes to Power Rangers. And again, right, we've seen actors from Power Rangers like Jasmeet Badawalia, who played Ravi in Beast Morphers. You know, he had an interview a couple of last year sometime, or maybe the year before that, talking about he views Power Rangers as Avengers, the idea that they should be as popular, if not more popular, than the Avengers. You know, we are living very much in a superhero genre kind of world, so we really need to take advantage of that when the appetite for this type of stuff continues to be at an all-time high. And I think that's exactly what Hasbro recognizes, and what we're potentially trying to get. And so yeah, man, it's pretty crazy. But I love that interview that he wind up giving. But yeah, guys, go ahead and let me know your guys' thoughts in regards to this. Let's see here. Nicole says, I haven't seen Don Brothers, but how do you like the morph sequence and costumes? Seeing them on screen instead of pictures, even the CGI. Morph sequence, legit, love it. Costumes truly work for me. Absolutely love them. Seeing them on screens instead of pictures works for me. CGI of the characters, though, not a fan of. I have enjoyed some of the physical suits that we've gotten from Kiji Brother for sure. I think it's a cool ass physical suit. Love the like camera angles that they attach when they view Kiji Brother, but the CGI for the characters at least, not necessarily the biggest fan of. CGI elsewhere, I love it. I love it. You also say the Sentai universe always seems to be brighter than PR. I keep hearing about that. It hasn't always been. Power Rangers has very much always been brighter. I still think Power Rangers is brighter, but I think Super Sentai, especially maybe over the last, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 seasons, has definitely gotten a little bit more lighthearted. But make no mistake, previous seasons to Super Sentai, definitely darker. Definitely darker. But they definitely don't mind having some fun and some great humor and stuff. Don't get me wrong. But Sentai, I've always seen Sentai as a more mature series. But even in the comments that you've heard and we've read, that has clearly changed in regards to, and not to say that it's always been for adults, because I know Super Sentai has been for kids too. But it definitely feels like it's made a turn into the lighthearted aspect of things. But maybe that's just me. If you guys feel some other type of way, please let me know. Sexy says that's interesting. Super Sentai changing feels like what Power Rangers is currently about to be with Hasbro and Jonathan Entwistle. Isn't that crazy? I will say it's not crazy. I would say that they recognize the idea of you need to keep yourself fresh. When you continue to do things for 40 plus seasons, it can get stale, right? I feel like people have complained about Super Sentai in that extent. How come they never come up with new ideas, new themes and stuff, right? Like they rehash the same things over and over again. I've heard the complaints, but I feel like over the past 3 seasons or so, they've really have gone out of their way to try and be as unique and different in regards to their storytelling and themes as they can. And I'm sure some things will certainly be recycled. But again, I think they understand the moment in time in history that we're in. The fact that when you have been putting out content for 40 something years, you can see the evolution of it. And now it's time for an evolution again. They understand that. We as Power Ranger fans and the fandom should understand that too. 29 years into this, it's time for an evolution. It's time to take that, certainly that next step. So I won't find it crazy sexy, but I will bring up, that is important that they both see things the same way in that capacity. Gamers Force. What's up, Gamers Force? Are they doing a Sentai adaptation 2023 or not? It's a rumor right now. It's speculation. I don't think we're going to get a full season. Again, I think we'll get a limited series or a mini series or a movie. I don't think we're going to get ourselves a full adaptation of anything. So we'll see. Blossom says Super Sentai and Power Rangers can also be for girls, right? I mean, I watch those and I'm a girl. Yes, absolutely. Anybody can certainly watch Super Sentai, but I think maybe in their head, or maybe just sales wise for toys, maybe a lot of those toys are pushed towards more males. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's just that demographic that they're looking to appease boys through 3 through 6. Not to say that they are like, oh, you're a girl and you want to buy our product. No, I don't think it's anything like that, but I definitely do think that they've got a demographic that they're certainly trying to reach, and if anybody wants to come on board, why not? Yusai says that Kamen Rider team growing as a Sentai, comment is interesting. Super Sentai really does have a huge influence on pop culture superheroes. Yeah, I definitely agree, Yusai. Is Super Sentai ever canceled after Don Brothers or not? No. Not at all, Gamers Force. According to the Toei interview, no, it seems like it's very much far from that at all. Yusai says, at this point, the CGI of Don Brothers doesn't bother me. It just seems like a mute point to complain, and I wish they didn't do it. But fuck it. Yeah, that's one of the things that I mentioned in my review, Don Brothers season 3. It was like, look, for me, I know I'm not going to be a fan of the CGI for the animals, at least. The Zord stuff looks great. I can even like and your ride on bike. I have no problem with whatsoever. It's just the characters for Kiji and Inu that rub me the wrong way. But it is one of those things like I don't want to harp on it every episode review, right? So I may not just talk about it, but no, I'm not a fan of it. I am not a fan of it at all. I wish they had just done something significantly different than what they are. But granted, we can't take it back. The fact that I think they are going to use those moments very sparingly gives me hope that it doesn't take me out of the episode too much. So a lot of my attention will be focused on the main story and the characters, and really appreciate it for what it is because I love this series so far. But the issue certainly comes down to the CGI animals for me, but it is not something that I think I'm going to make a focus on every episode, unless it's just really blatant, but I'm not going to talk about it too much at all. Because yeah, I agree with you. The story and the characters definitely outweigh the shoddy CGI. It's utilized so minuscule that I rather not harp on it too much. All right, guys. Adam says sometimes I just wish Power Ranger fans were just as appreciative with Power Rangers like the fans of Super Sentai. I know some of the evil fans have come from the Neil Saban era. Yeah, some Power Ranger fans have just been done wrong over the years. So we're definitely holding on to some animosity for sure. All right, guys. With that out of the way, though, that will wrap up all of our live viewer questions for the day. So, if anything, let's go ahead and get. Oh, I'm sorry. That will wrap up all the topics for the day. So, if anything, let's go ahead and get into our live viewer questions. Now, remember, guys, if you do have any live viewer questions, feel free to send them over to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com anytime during the week. Again, that's aplusmorephenomenal at gmail.com. Now, I'm going to go all the way back from last week. So we'll try and get through this. As when I start getting a little bit closer to 3:00, I may start having a wrap up here. So any questions that I miss or I don't get to, I will hold those over for episode 4 review and finish those up for you guys. Let's see here. Jessica Friedman coming through. When is the second half of Dino Fury Season 2 going to drop on Netflix? I'm sorry, Jessica, has not been revealed yet. Your guess is as good as mine. So, yeah. Ooh, this might offend some people. Ionis Hernandez. What's up, Ionis? They say, and this is them, not me. Don't at me, guys. Zenkaiger was the worst series in Super Sentai history. It was extremely chaotic. The powers were sloppy. The atmosphere was too goofy for my taste. The heroes and villains were completely all over the place. And I really couldn't stand Kaido as a leader and character. He's not as bad as Lucky, but he's pretty annoying. I really could not stand the suits of the Zenkaigers, where all 4 of the Zenkaigers were robots, and then into the mini Megazords when it's went into their Ranger forms, which was super cringy. Stacy was pretty much the evil Purple Ranger, was pretty cool, but sucked that he carried the storyline of Kaido. Zox has 2 Kaiser. The Gold Ranger was really cool because his suit was an obvious redesign and homage to Go Kaiser, which was one of my favorite top 10 Super Sentai series to ever come out. The storyline of Zox trying to get his younger brother was as little robots was a big WTF. It was poorly executed in the end of the series. I will agree with you there for sure. Each episode made me not want to watch, where it felt like a chore. So many things didn't make any sense and a lot of really bad comedy. The entire series for me was a big fat joke. The only cool parts I really liked were the morph sequences. As an anniversary series, it was okay. I liked the attack modes of the Rangers which were a great homage to the last Sentai teams without actually bringing back past actors. Since Zenkaiger was filmed during the COVID since Kara Major, Zenkaiger Red was my favorite ally in the series. Um, Sorry, my phone went back. Um, was my Zenkaiger Red was my most favorite ally in the series, talking about Jurin, and to happen besides Stacy and Zox being the only characters I enjoyed. He reminded me of Aqua Red. I really did not like this series at all. That it was way easy for me to not remember a lot of stuff. The show being part of the parallel dimension was cool at least. Overall, Zenkaiger was a huge waste of time for me, and I don't recommend anyone else watch it unless you like over the top ridiculousness and don't care about quality entertainment. I'm not looking forward to the series crossing over with Kara Major and Senpaiger. This series can kiss my ass for destroying Super Sentai to me. This belongs in the same dirty basket as Ninja Steel and as the most disgraced series of Sentai history, period. Wow. Let us know how you really feel next time, Ionis. Listen, I will say this, for me, there are definitely sentiments that I agree with you, Ionis. Whether or not I would say it's the worst series in history, I don't know. Out of the series that I've seen so far, it's probably up there. I like next to Ninja. I'm trying to figure out if I enjoyed Ninja more or Zenkaiger. Zenkaiger and I have always had a love-hate relationship. So there are certainly aspects of what you mentioned that I definitely agree with, but also don't necessarily agree with everything. Like, I agree it was extremely chaotic. One of the things that I talked about was sometimes it just felt like the show had ADHD, that it felt very much all over the place, couldn't just sit down and focus on what it wanted to be sometimes. The atmosphere was too goofy for my taste. Same thing here. While I don't mind humor, I kind of appreciated some of the witty banter between the characters from time to time. Jurin, like you, was one of my favorites. Um, so the humor, I didn't mind it so much, but sometimes it was a little bit too over the top and very nonsensical to me. While you're not a fan of Kaido as a character and leader, I really loved him. I thought he did a great job in regards to be very sympathetic, empathetic, understanding to his friends. Great motivator for sure. Very selfless, always putting or at least thinking of other people first before himself. I actually thought he was a really great leader when it comes to Zenkaiger. So there are definitely some elements of your thing that I definitely agree with and certainly don't. So I won't say it's the worst series that I've seen, but it's definitely up there. And one thing that I will always say to people, you know, I don't know if I would never not recommend a Super Sentai season, even if it hits me the wrong way, because I think one of the things I try to understand is it may hit other people different. And I think, and even in your email, you say it doesn't do it for me, unless somebody's into. Absolutely. If you are into that type of person that likes the lightheartedness, that doesn't like a series that takes itself too overly seriously, kind of wings it, has a decent storyline that's more surface level than anything, then it might be a great season for you. For me, it just didn't work for me in that regard. But that's okay. If you loved it, I hope you really loved it. Michael, what's up, Michael? He's got a couple questions. He says, I wished the Phantom Ranger had been further explored or even had Billy revealed as the Phantom Ranger. He went to Aquitar and Zeo because of his health. Perhaps while on the planet, he worked on creating a power that would restore his health, the Red Ruby. Is this a theory of yours? You say, however, something went wrong and he got stuck in the suit and has to become the Phantom Ranger. So he fights evil across the universe and blah, blah, blah. At the end of Countdown to Destruction with the Zordon wave, Billy's health is restored and finally takes his helmet off, revealing the Phantom Ranger to indeed be Billy. In Super Sentai Car Ranger, Phantom Ranger was a one-off character. We'll see what happens. I am fascinated to learn a little bit more about the Phantom Ranger, who they are focusing on in Boom Studios at the moment. They've had several one-shots, I believe, that are focused on him, and the current Power Ranger universe comic series, I believe, is delving into his past a little bit more, along with a new group of Rangers, the Morphing Masters, I should say, in their in their early stages, their early form. Um, but that's an interesting theory. So I would be interested to see, like, will the comic books explore the identity of Phantom Ranger when he takes off his helmet, sort of thing, right? I would be interested to see how that kind of comes into play and any revelations that they certainly might have. But great theories, and us putting that together, Michael, for sure. Quick side note here is Yusai about the Zenkaiger comment. He said Zenkaiger wasn't the best, but I think it will have a special place in the way that Super Sentai is moving forward. I mean, how Don Brothers is going is definitely influenced by Zenkaiger in ways. Uh, so to me, Zenkaiger is worth it just for the effects on Don Brothers so far. Yeah, I'm still waiting to see what the connections are. I mean, we've definitely have seen like Jurin getting into battle, at least in his Dino form, and we've seen Kaido still very much a mystery as of right now. Um, Gabriel, what's up, Gabriel? He says, my thoughts on a Power Ranger version of Zoosier. I would love to see how the show takes place in a warped parallel Earth where the animals rule instead of humans, but for animal humanoids befriend him as they end up traveling to his Earth. They'll need to a good mentor figure to deal with the Death Galleons. As for the Zuo of the world, make his character autistic, who was kidnapped by Genius from the center and remodeled into their weapon because of his loneliness and rage. That's what beat the Rangers until Zuo Eagle vowed to save him uh, from their influence and later offering him a home in his family. In the PR version, I have his mother known of his secret of himself as a ranger along with his newfound friends. If in high school or in college, where the Rangers will go, three bullies based off of Ed, and Eddie. Who's trying to learn and unveil the Rangers' identities. I do wish for Eagle and Tiger as a couple. The Death Galleons seem small, same with allies. We need more original characters again, since Astronema, Trakina, Rancic, and Nadira, and Master Org. Of course, Lothor, Mesogog, and Grum. Great suggestions, Gabriel. So thank you very much for that. Francois, how are you enjoying season 2 of Power Ranger Dino Fury so far? I'm blown away, man. I'm really enjoying myself. I know I'm only like 4.5 episodes in so far, or 4 episodes in so far, but I've loved what I've seen so far. Really great start to the season. Just my opinion, but I don't mind the comedy duo in Dino Fury with Jane and Jay Borg. They don't really ruin the momentum, unlike Ben and Betty from Beast Morphers and Victor and Monty from Ninja Steel. So far in Dino Fury, Jane and Jay Borg are fine. They're not the entire episode or even episode or even every episode, which is fantastic. I would agree with you there. If anything, I definitely would agree with you there. My complaint that I had with them in this week's episode was the physical comedy was a little bit too much. But outside of that, I really have loved how they've handled this comedy duo. They are one of my faves. I think they've got great chemistry with each other on screen, great facial features, great performances. Jay Borg for me is one of my favorites. I love the way she talks, her robot movements and stuff really worked for me too. And you're right, they have handled them much better than they have. Like season 1, it almost felt like that second half of the season almost forgot how to use Jane and Jay Borg, or didn't use them practically sort of at all. So yeah, definitely a much better improvement. Much better improvement in using the comedy duo. Ibase, what's up, Ibase? He says, my theory on Beast Morphers being linked to Time Force. While Power Rangers Beast Morphers had obviously already ended, this is my theory of Beast Morphers connected to Time Force. Collins, of course, being the last name of our dear Wes from Time Force. But here is where it gets fun. An episode with Roxy and her aunt, it was shown that Roxy's aunt owns the company. And it may be possible that she and her aunt's last name are also Collins. A Collins family with enough money to own a major company certainly harkens back to how Wes's family was portrayed in Time Force. Then we had the Time Force sequel graphic novel, which the author was so kind to reveal in this very sub. This is what it says. It says, this is actually a direct sequel to those Wild Force episodes and a soft prequel to something, indicating reinforcements from the future two-parter, which could be a soft prequel to Beast Morphers, revealing how Wes and Jen had a kid named Roxy, maybe. It would certainly be cool, especially since Roxy had already joined Grid Battle Force since the first episode of Beast Morphers, and likely already knew how to fight by being trained by the badass Jen. Aunt Regina has been the only family member we've met from Roxy, so anything is up in the air with further details of her family. Interesting. How do you guys like that theory? You think that holds any weight? Go ahead and let me know, guys. Man, you guys have theories out the ass today. Jackson Peterson, my Dino Fury Lord Zed theory. What if we're saving the newly empowered Lord Zed for the 30th anniversary? He goes back in time, replaces Rita earlier than he did in the previous timeline, takes control of Tommy and Rita's monsters. During the Green with Evil miniseries, at the point where the Rangers were right on the edge of being defeated, this new Zed intends to shove them over that edge. I do know Zed going back in time way far fetched because it would require lots of brand new footage and money to bring back Carla Perez as Rita and JDF as Tommy, or just use stock footage and stand-ins. I mean, I think if they were to do like a Lord Zed going back into the future, I think I don't necessarily know if Rita and Tommy and stuff like that would pop back up. Um, maybe stand-ins. Yeah, maybe stand-ins. I don't know if time travel's in the works, but we'll see. There's speculation as to whether or not Lord Zed will return for the second half of this. I've definitely speculated, like, man, I would love Lord Zed to come back. All right, like you had him escape in the end of season one. It's hard to not expect him to pop his head in one more time. So I'm curious if that will be here in Dino Fury season two. And one of the things that we have speculated too, I think would be really cool if he does manage to escape Dino Fury season alive. Maybe he's plotting behind the scenes. Maybe he's in search of his weapons and his staff. And maybe this 30th anniversary special or project that we have kind of coming up, maybe it will see Lord Zed sort of in that last hurrah to destroy the Power Rangers before things really jump into this new rebooted world that we certainly have. So I do think there are really cool things that you can do with Lord Zed. You've brought him back. You've had him make an impactful entrance. Now let's get a very impactful farewell. Let's like if you're willing to bring Lord Zed back and you have him manhandle the Rangers the way that he did as much as he could without his staff and his full power, I got to think you've got much bigger plans for him, whether that be a finale for Dino Fury or as a 30th anniversary villain. I think those are our two options as of right now. Let's see here. What else we got? Nicole Robertson. Nicole, what's up, Nicole? If you could be a writer for Power Rangers or Super Sentai, what would be your story and what color Ranger suits, along with how many Rangers would you like to be in a team? I've always had this weird concept of a Power Ranger team or a Super Sentai team where we've got one lone Ranger. And on the good side, I should say, there's another organization that has run over the world, run rampant, and they've got themselves like 4 Rangers that they've already created for their own evil ways that have helped bring destruction. And who knows, maybe they've turned into generals themselves. I don't know. But then we have a small group of scientists that have been working underground for years, not being found, that have been trying to build their own schematic for a Power Ranger to go up against sort of these evil Rangers, these cybernetic evil Rangers that have been created. And so I would love this series to start off with one lone Ranger. And as the season progresses, the idea of him eventually being able to convince the evil Rangers to turn against their people or come to the good side. And then we slowly wind up getting our membership grow for this team as we get closer and closer. To where we've got our team of 5 or we've got our team of 6 or whatever the case may be. But I think it would be pretty cool to start off with more evil rangers compared to the one, but one that's formidable enough that he can handle maybe like 2 or 3 on his own. But when we start really getting into a whole group of him having to face off against one, that's really where the struggle comes. Maybe we get some power ups for this one individual ranger. And there's a lot. Clearly, I want the storyline to be deep enough to where the AI and the cybernetics of these evil rangers can think on their own. You know, can maybe be faced with consequences or things that maybe they have tried to determine or calculate, sort of thing, and they're realizing, maybe there's more to them. I don't know. Maybe they had human lives before this, and it was taken away from them for them to now become be transformed into these evil rangers. And it's the one lone ranger that has to kind of reach out to their humanity to draw them to the back from the brink and actually join his side to bring down the destruction and the reign of whatever has happened in their stay. So maybe like a post-apocalyptic sort of theme of an organization that has destroyed and taken over the world for themselves by using these very four powerful rangers that they've created. And then yeah, the one super ranger to face off against them all, turn them to the light side, and slowly build up their ranks that way too. That would be one of the things that I would, as far as colors go, I don't know. Definitely give me a red, give me a black, give me a pink, give me a white as another female, and then maybe give me a green. I don't know. Yeah, green, black, and red is my males. Um, Give me a pink, a white, and even those would be my 3 colors. And if I had to bring in, say, an additional color for like a 6th ranger, it would probably be like the yellow ranger or something like that. Maybe another female. I would have it even 3 females, 3 males in regards to my team. But yeah, that's what I've got. That's what I got for you, Nicole. Let's see here. AJ, he's got a couple questions. If David Yost Quantum Continuum gets picked up, what do you want to see that we have not yet talked about since the news came out? I still believe this might take place in a different dimension or universe. Well, if Quantum Continuum does get picked up, I did like what you mentioned before in regards to a tribute to Trini in there. I would like there to be a Megazord battle towards the very end. Um, I don't know if this is going to be like a one-off season, a limited series, or whatever the case may be, but maybe end it off in a big climactic battle. Really want to see an attention to detail for the characters, especially with them growing, and I want to see an insight into their lives. Have they established a family for themselves? Are some of them even still friends? Have some of them departed and moved away? And it's things have become difficult for them, right? Like I want to see how much their lives have significantly changed. Is everybody even still going back out into battle? Have some people left the team, right? Does Billy have to try and talk some people back into coming into the team once again? There are definitely elements to an older version of Rangers that I am curious to see how much their time has changed. So I very much would like the emphasis to be on the characters, the story, and the martial arts action, and leave the Zord battles and stuff for the finale. For the finale, not like don't give me the same formula for Power Ranger episode like I do on the kids stuff already, right? Like I don't need that type of thing. But I kind of see who's established a family. Do they have any kids? Any kids aspiring to want to be a Power Ranger someday? Any connections to the greater Power Ranger universe? Right? Are there any SPD references? Will Billy keep us up as to what happened on Aquitar? That type of stuff. Like these are all these things are certain things I would certainly like to see talked about. You say for me, I'm very interested to see how Trini is handled. Yeah, I agree. Especially with David teasing some of the scripts on Twitter, which don't include Trini as of yet. I think it would be cool if the original team reunited at Angel Grove for a reunion thing and ran into trouble and find out about other Rangers that never existed. To follow the show's continuity, both Jason and Zach still have their original Dino Power coins along with Trini, since they were never destroyed, thus duplicated during the power transfer. Or Jason can easily name drop grid battle force and the morphing grid. Anyways, they decide to fight one last time. Either they suit up again or not to help defeat an overpower threat using the original Dino Megazord and Thunder Megazord. Billy managed to create, based on the two classic robots in Aquitar, bonus points for a two-team size cockpit scene, which would combine Megazord from a one-off final battle. We'll see. We'll see how detailed they definitely get or not, AJ. Let's see here. Kurt Marino. What's up, Kurt? Appreciate you coming through with some questions. Um, you know how in Power Rangers lately, especially with Dino Fury, we often look for and praise when the show has used a lot of brand new original footage instead of just constantly relying on Super Sentai. Um, yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of us in the rest for the longtime fandom always want brand new footage because of how awful and lazy Neo Saban era has been with its seasons, with Super Megaforce being the most guilty. Biggest example of being lazy in Sentai footage was Super Megaforce. They constantly used unknown Sentai suits on the show, even the brand new footage of Troy's Mighty Morphin Red. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Samurai for me, I felt was super guilty with that. Sometimes Samurai came across literally as a copy and paste, like almost scene for scene, which was really cringy for me. You say brand new footage, I believe, really does allow writers to be more creative in order to create a compelling story if they want to. Do you agree or agree? I've always been pushing that theme, Kurt. You know, even especially when they first announced the possibility of Hasbro and Toei splitting. You know, I've always said the idea of creating original footage is so much easier than having to adapt footage, you know, because you literally have to write around something that's already been written and have to create a brand new story that has to fit visually with what it is that you're creating. Whereas original footage, you really have no handcuffs. You can create what it is that you want to see specifically on screen. So I do think that that's a little bit easier to do than adapting anything. But that's, you know, we've been preaching that to the choir for forever. But yeah, I think for me, I do praise the show, especially when it uses original footage. To me, it shows that they are trying to push the envelope a little bit, do something creatively new. And if you ask me, I think original footage, while Super Sentai does have some great action sequences, don't get me wrong, there is something really joyous about being able to hear us in the States creating our own action choreography, and seeing how freaking impressive like it truly can be. I've been really wowed, I think, by the second unit directors from Dino Fury, even in Beast Morphers, in regards to some of the original fight footage, and the wire works and the stunt coordination that really goes into it all. I think for me, I'm more impressed in seeing what we can create physically like that original footage than how we just reuse stuff. So yeah, I'm always a big proponent of original footage. L'Oreal, you got some questions. What's the best part of Don Brothers so far? The best part about Don Brothers, man, the best part about Don Brothers. There's just so much I could probably highlight, but the best part, man, maybe Oni's sister. I really love her being the main focus and the main character of this series. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know Don Momotaro certainly has his role to play, but he's like the MacGuffin, right? Like he's like the object that needs to be found for Oni's sister. So I love the journey that Oni's sister is being taken on, and learning and observing things sort of through her eyes. Um, if I would even say maybe even the best part of the Don Brothers is just this creativeness in regards to storytelling so far. It doesn't feel like a traditional season to me, especially like that we've been introduced to three villains within the first three episodes, some of them connected, some of them doing their own solo thing. There's still a lot of mystery without any questions answered, but it sounds like they are easily putting the pieces together. The Zord battles really freaking impressed me so much more than I thought that they ever would compared to Zenkaiger. Yeah, man. Oni sister, the storytelling in regards to like its unique pacing for the show, and the Zord battles, probably my three favorite parts so far of Don Brothers. But there's really a lot to enjoy. I love the gear of Tokuja the Rangers found from that monster. I wonder how Kiji brother can handle Kogura's suit, let alone her imagination powers. I mean, well, we kind of saw it a little bit briefly in the last episode as he changed into Kagura's suit. Was it Tokyo 5? Tokyo 5? Gotta admit, Saru Brother is just as quirky and attractive as my sweet Babu. I did like Saru Brother's appearance in episode number 3. I like the way that he's certainly coming across as a very intuitive, very smart, intellectual gentleman. You know, feels very detective. Now I can see why they call him the professor. I think I'm going to really enjoy him sort of giving us insight into what's going on, and maybe even answering some questions himself. Um, Let's see here. Matthew Rivera. What's up, Matthew? What do you think of the Alien Rangers when they first showed up in MMPR season 3 and the back second half of Zeo? Do you wish they were handled better? And if they were able to disguise themselves as humans, what names would you give them? Um, I remember even growing up as a kid finding the Alien Rangers section of their storyline weird. Weird. Yeah, the alien design, I think, for them in general threw me off. I mean, it's a cool concept, but it was weird. I didn't know which direction they were going to go. I kind of appreciated the fact that it felt very much like a mini series, like a limited series run for Alien Rangers when we got like the new logo and stuff. I'm telling you, man, growing up on Power Rangers back in the day and the original Saban era stuff was just fucking incredible if you were a kid, man. Like just the long form storytelling. I can see why this series became as successful as it certainly was, man. Just a long story, long form storytelling, and progressing into each new additional season with the power transfers and the new power ups and stuff. I mean, wow. Getting to see the storyline of the Aquitar Rangers then coming to assist because of the fact that our Rangers have been turned into kids, sort of thing, with the exception of Billy. It was a cool concept. I don't know if the execution was as strong as I would have liked it. I just remember loving the costumes, but it maybe not fulfilling my enjoyment as much as I would have liked to. And I think maybe some of that is because while the Alien Rangers took over, our main cast now turned into kids. And I don't think I really cared for them as much as kids. So I think that's where it kind of fell for me. But I wouldn't mind seeing them revisited in some way or another. But so yeah, I do wish they were handled maybe a little bit differently. As far as what names to give them, I don't know. Give them like the most. I mean, they're aliens coming in from someplace else, so I think we should just give them like the most blandest names ever. Like you're John Doe, you're Jane Doe, you're Bob, you're Greg, you're Karen, like that. I would just just trying to fit in, right? Just give them just the most earthly names you can possibly think of. Just especially if you're only going to be here a brief time, right? Doomsday, he's got a couple questions. Do you think that we'll get the ending dance back for future Sentai seasons? Because to be honest, although I do enjoy the opening dance, I will admit that I am starting to miss the ending one. I missed the ending one just because I feel like it's easier to have learned the moves. But outside of that, no, I'm okay with the dancing being in the intro. I'm okay with the dancing being in the intro. But that could just be me. That could just very well be me. Um, all right. I am gonna end off here soon. I got questions from an Alexander, a Kyle, a Nicole, Marcelino's in there. I might get Marcelino's in here real quick too, though. Hold on. You know what, Marcelino? Did you have a question in this one so far, Marcelino? No. Mm, you know, Marcelino, I'm gonna get your question right now, but I will hold off on these other questions for I'll get to two more questions. Marcelino, I'm going to come to yours next, even though you sent it in today. And there's another Jessica Friedman question from like 5 days ago. So I'll knock those out because then I've got a list of questions that just dropped in my inbox on the 25th. So I'll from the 25th to current, I'm going to go ahead and put in the I'm going to go ahead and put in the episode 4 review. So let me get these last two out of the way. Marcelino, I have a theory for why Dino Fury hasn't been creating a lot of original weapons. When you look at Super Sentai, Real Soldier already created a lot of power ups, Zords, and weapons, and Power Rangers is just borrowing them. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right in that. Thinking about Real Soldier and stuff, it felt like every time I turned around, I was like, damn, there's another power up. Like these guys don't even need these power ups. It felt like the villains that they were fighting at the time like they were just destroying them with ease because these power ups came without like any pushback to warrant power ups, right? But you might be right about that. In contrast, Go Busters had very few weapons, power ups, and weapons which gave the production team more opportunities to create more new weapons when making beast morphers. Since Real Soldier already has a ton of weapons, power ups, and Zords, the production team probably sees no reason to create a lot of new weapons and exclusive content. That being said, I hope to see exclusive weapons from the toy line in Dino Fury eventually. Oh, and just okay. So you would like to see exclusive weapons added to the toy line that we haven't seen in Dino Fury. That would be pretty cool. I think that would be pretty cool for sure. But I think your theory is right on point, Marcelino, in regards to that. As much as I would have loved to have seen more Dino Chucks, more even a javelin from Izzy as a weapon, I think you're right. I think the reason why we haven't seen that so far, the exclusive weapons, is because yeah, Real Soldier had a ton of shit. And when you do have a bunch of battle armors and power ups already in this show, it's almost like they might as well be their own exclusive weapon. So you're definitely right in that regards, Marcelino. I think that's one of the big reasons. And then lastly, Jessica Friedman says, are there plans for a big team up episode to celebrate the big 30th anniversary of Power Rangers? I don't think it's an episode per se. Like 4 to 6 weeks. I don't think that this is just solely say like a 45-minute episode. We're so used to like 22-minute episodes. We just ask like, can I get a 30-minute episode, 35-minute episode? I don't even think it's that. I do think it is a movie coming in at about maybe an hour and a half long, maybe a little bit over an hour as like a special, or a mini series or limit series of like 4 to 6 parts. You know what I mean? And six might even be a reach, but I will say anywhere between 4 to 6. So that's what my prediction is: 4 to 6 episode limited or mini series to establish a 30th anniversary something, or a movie coming in at about an hour to an hour and 30 minutes as a 30th anniversary movie. If I had to assume, I think we use Zoosier costumes. I think this would be a great opportunity to bring in other characters as well from past Super Sentai teams. one of the theories that I've posted out there, and we've said this a bajillion times already, I would like to see this as a Super Sentai Strongest Battle adaptation in some sense, not a direct adaptation, but influences from that miniseries and create something relatively new and hopefully original with this particular project. Whether that means they adapt it from a Super Sentai Strongest Battle, maybe they adapt something from the Zoo team up or something like that and just make it bigger. Who knows? But so yeah, those are my theories. Now, whether or not we're gonna get all original footage or there will be some footage used, that I don't know. But those are my two guesses: a movie or limited slash mini series of like 4 to 6 episodes. So we'll see. But thank you for the questions, guys. Thank you very much for the questions. Coming in just a little bit under 3 hours, so I'll definitely take that here. So thank you very much, guys. Remember, if you do have any questions, feel free to submit them over anytime to aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com, aplusmorephenomenal@gmail.com. And I'll definitely go ahead and get to your questions. If anything, whether I pre-record this for episode 4 reviews or I do a live review and live viewer questions, I'll definitely keep you guys posted this week. And I'll definitely get to the remainder of your questions in that video. So if you still want to submit questions over, you definitely can. Let's see here. All right. I think other than that, guys, I think that will do it for us here for A Plus More Phenomenal. As always, we certainly will be back later on this week with our episode 4 review. We're also going to be talking heavily about Don Brothers this week for our episode 4 review. If you continue to love our content and our reviews for the show, feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, like our videos. Feel free to leave a comment on these videos too. It really does help the algorithm. And if you love our show and you want to see it continue to grow, feel free to share these videos with people as well. But other than that, we will be back later on this week. A ton to certainly look forward to. So maybe I'll see you guys tomorrow on A Plus Hero Report live Sunday at noon Central Time. But until then, do me a big favor, as always, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A plus. May the power protect you. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.